Hello and welcome to the Dare to Differentiate live show. The purpose of the show is to help you rise up, raise your standards, and reach your next level. Whether you're tuning in live or watching the replay, I am so delighted that you're here. Let me know in the comment where you are from and whether you can hear me clearly. Want to make sure everything is working. I know there was a little bit of lag time. Are you guys good? Could you hear me clearly? Let's see here. All right, who's in the house? We have Toronto, Brussels, Mexico. Amazing, amazing. Welcome. Awesome. Can you guys hear me okay? I just want to make sure the volume is okay before I continue here. Is it good? Yeah, you can hear me? Okay, perfect. I'm guessing you guys can hear. All right, you can hear. Okay, perfect. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much for being here. I'm Diana YK Chan. I'm the founder of My Markability, where I help ambitious professionals, leaders, and executives to find a meaningful career, navigate change, and differentiate as top talent to get hired and earn more. I'm super pumped and excited for today's episode. Own your voice, value, and visibility. I'll be chatting with 6 inspiring women of color speakers. My intention is to inspire and empower you to own your greatness with confidence so that you rise, shine, and thrive. Let me know in the comment, what are you excited about learning today? Loud and clear. Okay, perfect. We are on. Amazing. So I decided to host this event because, in honor and celebration of International Women's Day and Women's History Month, really want to take the opportunity to feature and elevate women's voices of color as well. But also last year when I ran the Career Relaunch Summit, while I received amazing feedback from that summit, one of the comments that stood out was that someone mentioned that I wish there was a speaker that looked like me. So I decided to do something about it, hence why I'm running this event today where I'm featuring 6 women of color speakers to really increase representation, foster diversity and inclusion, to lift each other up, to celebrate strong and heart-centered women as well. Okay. So we have 6 incredible speakers. Let me just do a quick run through of what to expect. I will be having a fireside chat with each speaker for about 20 minutes. We're going to spend about first half of 10 minutes talking about their cultural upbringing, the impact it had on them, and their challenges in their career or business, and their why. And then I'm going to move into their topic where I'll be asking them questions. And then I'll end off with a motivational type of message for them to share with you there. So that's the overall gist of what the logistic will be like. And what I really do want to encourage you is, I'm all about raising that vibrational energy there. So whenever you hear a speaker coming up, I want you to show your appreciation, share your kind words to show your support. Whenever a speaker comes, highlight like, go Jasmine, go Keka, right? Just raise that vibration energy up there, okay? And I want to encourage you to engage in the conversation, to share your story, your thoughts, comments, key learnings, and questions. My dear friend Simra is moderating the chat room to support us today, and I really want to have a fun, engaging conversation to connect with you all there, okay? And then some logistics. Replays will be available. You can catch the replay on my LinkedIn or on my Facebook, or come on over to my YouTube channel where I will be adding timestamps later on so that you can also hop onto specific segments that you would want to rewatch there. Okay, awesome. So just let me take a look at the chat room here. What do you guys want to learn? Let me see here. Overcoming imposter syndrome. Okay. All right, there's a few of you here about imposter syndrome. All right, awesome. Thank you for sharing there. Great. So let me share with you the speakers that we have lined up today. So first up, I'm going to have Dr. Jasmine Escalera to come talk about building career confidence. And then we're going to talk to Keka DasGupta on stepping into your own power to live life fully. And then I'm going to move in to talk to Kamara Toffolo on overcoming imposter syndrome. Then we're going to take a quick 1-minute stretch break there. I'll put on some music for you guys. And then we'll move on to talk to Rhona on building your personal brand to increase your earning potential. And then we're going to talk to Ricklyn on embracing courage over comfort to change careers. And last but not least, we're going to talk to Sonal Bahl on voicing your uniqueness. Are you guys excited or what? Type in the chat room, type in the chat room, excited, type in hashtag women empowerment. Let's raise that vibration energy up there. Okay, awesome. Okay, so let me introduce you to Jasmine, who's our first speaker here. So Dr. Jasmine Escalera is a confidence coach and career strategist for women of color. She helps her clients beat self-doubt so that they can own their worth and boss up in their careers. She's a TEDx speaker and recently been recognized as a top career expert and top job search expert to follow on LinkedIn. Jasmine earned her Bachelor of Science in Biochemistry from Pace University and her PhD in Pharmacology from Yale. Are you guys excited to welcome Jasmine onto the stage here? Let's type in "Go Jasmine." She can see this in backstage. Let's raise that vibrational energy up here. Awesome. Oh my goodness, this is awesome. All right, so let me welcome Jasmine on stage here.
Hello,
Jasmine.
I am raising of this vibrational energy. I see party hats. I see emojis.
Is it me? I can't hear you yet. Can you guys hear Jasmine, or is it just my headset now?
Oh no!
You can hear me, Jasmine?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take off my headset for a moment. Sometimes these technical difficulties. It was working back. Oh, it's working now.
Awesome.
Oh, awesome. Can you guys hear? No echo here? I'm going to try to put it back on. You know what happened was, because when I was checking whether LinkedIn was a lag time, my AirPods went to my phone. And then sometimes because of that Bluetooth,
I hate that.
It gets disconnected, right? So I tried to turn off, I forgot to turn on my Bluetooth there, but
no worries, no worries. I was just saying that I am absolutely loving this vibrational energy. I see party hats, I see so much amazing stuff, and I am so excited to be here.
Me too. I have to say, like, I think I've been following you for, I don't even know, but on Instagram, and I love your videos. They lit me up. I love your confidence, just how positive and happy you are. It just really inspires me. So I want to say congratulations with your recent accomplishments and recognition there.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And yeah, we've been following each other for quite some time. And I was saying to you before, it's amazing to actually finally meet, because you support people for so long and then you meet them and it's like, oh, there you are.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here. So I'm going to kick things off to get you to share with us a little bit about, tell us a bit about your cultural upbringing. What's one cultural value that had an impact on you, good or bad?
Well, I think the thing that had the biggest impact on me from a positive standpoint, but then also later on, not necessarily from a negative, but that just kind of was a little bit jarring for me, was that I grew up in the projects in Brooklyn, New York. So I grew up around Black and brown faces, and my community, my people, my individuals, they championed me all along the way. So I was known as the bookworm in the projects. I was known as the one who wanted to go to school and like get, be successful. And that was like my thing, and everybody championed me. So I can remember, coming home from school with an A and telling all the fellas on the stoop, I got an A today, and it would be like the biggest cheers ever. And that created a sense of safety for me, right? It created a real sense of community, a sense of safety. And it made me truly value individuals who look like me because they championed me. But the problem with that, in terms of what's the bad around that, was that when I left my community and I started college, and then I was sort of thrust into a different world with different people with different backgrounds, I realized that not everybody lived like I did, and not everybody had the same upbringing as me. And that really started to create my first sort of bout with self-doubt and imposter syndrome, because I had stepped out of the safety of my community of Black and brown individuals supporting me and into something completely new and different. So I would say that there was a lot of positive in the way that I grew up, but that was a jarring thing for me, going out and stepping out into the real world and realizing not everybody grows up in the projects. People have houses and go to private schools. Like, I didn't realize that was a thing.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, thank you. And I watched your TEDx talk the other day, and It was so inspiring to hear your story. So if you guys haven't watched Jasmine's talk, I go Google it or search for it on YouTube, and you'll hear her talk about her story, and which just ties into your topic of your talk today as well. So tell me, what challenges did you face in your career or business, and how did you handle them?
I think a lot of the challenges that I personally faced were internal struggles. So I see a lot of individuals writing here about imposter syndrome. Like, I didn't actually know imposter syndrome was a thing until only, a few years ago, when I really started diving deep into career and professional development. But I have been, I started my academic career 20 years ago, and I would say for about 15 years of my academic and professional life, I was dealing with something that I didn't even know was a thing. So a lot of what I faced in terms of my challenges were trying to reconcile these feelings of doubt, these feelings of imposter syndrome, these feelings of not wanting to own my success with what I knew I had to do to be successful, which was be boastful, take up space, be there, be energetic, be assertive. But I didn't know how to do that. And because I actually didn't know that there was a thing like imposter syndrome, I really didn't know much about self-doubt. I couldn't actually put a name to it. So then I could finally start to build the strategies to overcome it. So I feel like a lot of my specific challenges in terms of my career and business were owning my value, my worth, my confidence, taking up the space that I deserved. And a lot of that was really internal.
And did you have any guidance or mentor along the way?
Yeah, so I did. So when I was in college, actually, I met this amazing woman. Her name was Dr. Jamie Lee Rizzo, at the time Cohen. And she, when I was struggling a lot in college because of, like I said, it was just this transition away from my community and doing something completely different. And she told me something that was so profound, which is, you create community as you go through your life and as you go through your career and profession. So all you have to do is find out what community means to you, what community represents for you, and you find that. And that's what I started to do in every sort of walk and shape of my life was, in college, I found other Black and brown women, powerhouse science women who were going through the same thing, and we supported each other. In graduate school, I found my tribe, my group, my squad. And then, in my career, I really was able to build a community through my business. So I always sort of stuck to that sort of idea of community is the thing that can help you overcome a lot of the challenges that you're facing.
Oh, I agree with you. Community, I'm so big on that. This is why I surround myself with great people. And this is why I do events like this, is because you meet great people and you lift each other up.
Exactly.
Right? The support that you have. So that's great to hear. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Why do you do what you do? What's something that you're proud of in your career?
Yeah, so I do what I do because, as I said, when I was a little girl, I always wanted to be successful. That was something that I always wanted. I always wanted to be the best person that I could be. And sometimes that's a little bit of a pain in the butt because I push myself a lot, but I always wanted to be the best that I could be. So for me, I do what I do because I wasn't always my best, because I did conform, because I did feel less than, and because I didn't value myself. And I just don't want any other woman of color to ever feel that way when it comes to their careers. There are a lot of issues with the workplace. There are a lot of issues with the work environment. But I come from the standpoint of what is it that you can do to own your space, to step into the workplace every single day as your authentic self, and to truly be able to craft and create success the way you want it to be. So for me, I do what I do because I went through it. I felt it for a very long time. And I just don't want any women to feel like they cannot move out of that place in that state.
Oh, I love that. I mean, what I'm hearing, Jasmine, is focus on what you control, work on yourself, really that inner work so that you can really, step into your own power, your own greatness, and show up fully there. I love that. I love that. Okay, so this is a great segue into your talk, Building Career Confidence. And I want to ask you guys, what questions do you have, or what are you curious about here? I'm going to pull in our chat here to display as well. So Jasmine, my first question is, how might people of color self-sabotage their career? What are some of those signs of self-sabotaging behavior?
Yeah, I think, for me, the number one sign of self-sabotaging behavior, and I see this a lot in my clients, is not realizing that you have to pick your head up and you have to be strategic about your career. So I think as women of color, especially, one of the predominant factors, or one of the ways that imposter syndrome manifests, and doubt and fear and everything else, is that we try our best to overwork, to prove to everyone else. And what that really means is we put our heads down and we're working really hard. But the thing is that we're not being strategic. We're not speaking up. We're not saying what we want. And then the problem with that becomes, I'm working so hard, but nobody values me. Or I'm working so hard and people should understand that I want more. I want to be more. I want to do more. But the thing is that if you don't build a core strategy into that, if you're not speaking up and telling people what you want, then unfortunately you're going to stay stagnant with where you are. So I think a major component of self-sabotage when it comes to people of color, women of color, is this feeling of, I just should be working hard and then being recognized for it, and not realizing that strategy and using your voice is such a major component to creating the success that you really want.
So the key learning here is to use your voice.
Yes,
to speak up. Oh my goodness, I love it. Can we talk a little bit about that? Like, what are some things that people should speak up on? What are maybe some examples when they should be speaking up on?
Well, I hear a lot of my clients say, my company doesn't value me. And the one thing that I say to them is, like, what does value mean to you, right? Because value is very different to different people. Is that money? Is that like they're not listening to your ideas? Is it that they're not really taking into concern like your work-life balance? What does value mean to you? And that's what you have to speak up for. So, and values change in your career as you change as an individual and as you grow. So when I was younger in my career, I wanted the value to be money, 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 because I was working really hard. But now, as I have a business and I have other things I want to do, value to me is understanding that if I leave, I need to leave at 4 o'clock every single day because I have things I need to do. So I think, you need to connect to your value. What's your value in this point? Understanding that it does change as you grow in your career. And that's what you need to speak up for.
Totally. I agree. Jasmine, I don't know if you can see the chat right now. It's amazing. They're like, this is so good. YOUniqueness value to me is recognition and appreciation.
Yes.
And I love what you're saying here. It's just like understanding what it means to you, like what's important to you, so that you know what to speak up of what you need from your boss or from your employer there. Right?
Yeah, that's so key.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you for sharing that. So what are some strategies to build career confidence?
Yeah, so for me, I always think about confidence in sort of 3 buckets, and confidence is a lot of the internal work. So what I was talking about, I was lacking in terms of confidence, was the internal piece. So you really have to adopt a growth mindset. You need to be creating strategies for yourself that help build yourself up, affirmations, talking to yourself in a good way, diminishing your limiting beliefs. But then the second thing really about confidence is that you need to be using your strengths and skills. We all feel more confident when we are actually doing the things that we're naturally good at. So if you want to build confidence, first, of course, do that inner work and really pinpoint what it is. And then secondly, know what your strengths are, know what your skills are, know what you're really good at, and focus your work and efforts in that space. Yeah. And then the third thing for confidence is you just got to go for it. You've got to take action. We fear things that we think are going to happen that are bad. But once you start taking those baby steps and you realize that it isn't really as bad as you thought it was, you'll just naturally start to build confidence. So confidence truly does come from the inner work, the utilization of your strengths, your skills, what you're good at. And then that third component is you've got to go out there, take those baby steps, gain the experience, and you will naturally start to feel more confident about your abilities.
I love that. I love that. And I remember when I was looking at your talk here, it says that studies show 80% of women of color feel that they cannot be themselves in the workplace. And Ula just said here, I need to be comfortable with who I am in a white community. Can you maybe talk a little about that, or maybe give some words of encouragement for those feel like they can't be themselves?
Yeah, so that was me completely. So yeah. I ended Latina in STEM, and I work in the nonprofit sector, but I'm still in research. So my sector is very dominated by white men. And so for a very long time, I conformed or tried to conform to what I thought that they would want from me. But here's the problem is I'm never going to be a white man. Like I'm sorry, that's just not what's going to happen. So I became so conflicted internally with who I was or who I wanted to represent as and what everyone else thought I should be represented as. And frankly, it wasn't until I started to realize that I was doing myself a disservice and myself damage, and that I had moved so far away from the community that supported me to where I was, that I really started to realize that I can't do this anymore. So my biggest piece of advice to anyone who's in that space and wants to connect to their authentic self is you have to really connect back to your authentic self. You have to really know who you are as an individual, as a person, how you want to represent yourself and show up every single day. And you have to show up as that person. And when I started to do that, I was in an environment that did not accept me for who I was. And so I had to, again, connect to my values and find an environment that would, so that I can show up as me, like me, every single day, and no one's going to blink an eye. So it's really important to, again, to go back to the value. Who are you? And sometimes you'll recognize that as you start to really become the person you want to be in every space, the spaces are not for you, and that's okay. But then you have to find your space.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, this is so good. I think Mohib had a question around books around career development. I see people are sharing it here. I don't know if you have a book that you recommend around career confidence.
Yeah, so there's actually 2 books that I always recommend to my clients. One is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, which is a book that's been around for a long time about limiting beliefs and owning your greatness. And I just think it's a beautiful book. It's not specific about careers, but it's just a fantastic book around your limiting beliefs and how we create a ceiling for ourselves. The second book that I always recommend is Own Your Greatness by Lisa Orbe Austin. It's all around imposter syndrome. It is fantastic. It is a wonderful book. And I will say a third one, which is The Memo by Minda Harts. I call that the career Bible for women of color. So those 3 books are 100% like the 3 books I would recommend to anyone to read.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay. As women of color, how to deal with judgment from others?
Yeah, so, frankly, I just don't give a F about what anyone has to say. And, it's taken me a really long time to get to that point. I'm not joking. Like, it's taking me a long time to get to the point that I am confident in the woman that I am, that it doesn't really matter what everyone else thinks about me or says. And I had to create that persona in my career. And then I had to create that persona in my business because it's different, And so I think that in terms of dealing with judgment from others, you, again, have to build the confidence within yourself to recognize that judgment from others is BS. That's their own stuff. And you don't need to put anybody else's baggage on yourself. So I think it's a matter of really getting to the point where you feel good about you and recognizing that other people's baggage is not something that you have to carry. Now, it is different in the workplace. If you're dealing with microaggressions, if you're dealing with bias, then you have to speak up to individuals so that they recognize that that is something that you are not going to tolerate, and you set your boundaries around that. So there's different things in terms of judgment. There's the judgment of people just judge people, and I just don't tolerate that. But the other thing that I don't tolerate is people being aggressive in the workplace or putting bias out there, putting thoughts out there. And that's when I tell individuals, you do have to own your voice and speak up.
This is a good one. I mean, what I'm hearing is don't take it personally. Don't believe it, essentially, right? That's an important piece. But I think in order to do that too, I think going back to, it's really like, you got to really be comfortable with who you are. You got to love yourself. You got to love yourself.
You have to. Yes, you definitely do.
Yeah. Listen, I care so much about other people's judgment. Right. And I hear this a lot too, even from clients, when they talk about themselves, they feel like, what will they think? Is it too much to this? Or if I speak up, or if I share my accomplishments on LinkedIn, is that too much? What if they judge me? Like, what advice do you have for that? Like, just to get over that hump of putting yourself out there, of showcasing who you are?
Yeah, that's so interesting because for a very long time, I didn't use LinkedIn and I wasn't very interested in Instagram because I thought everybody was going to judge me. And I think what you have to realize is that, yes, people will judge you. Like I get, messages on LinkedIn that are not nice messages, people calling me stupid for words that I use. But you know what? 99.9% of the messages that I get are from amazing people laden with positivity and just really expressing the best for me. And then I express the best for them. So I give out in the world what I want to receive, and you will receive judgment from others. But again, it comes back to how you see you and how you own your accomplishments and how you own your worth. I cannot correct the world, and there is no way that we're going to do that. So I don't focus on trying to correct the world or letting the world affect me. I create a circle and a network of individuals who support me and who I support. And that's what I care about.
Oh, I love that, guys. Put in what your key learnings are. This was so rich here. Like what resonated with me was what you said about 99% of the people are there to support you. There's just like 1% of people who are judging you. And, like, do you make it big about it that, or you think about all these 90% of the people who love you and support you and believe in your work. And I remember learning from this from another speaker, Brandon Bashar. He talks about that because as you get bigger, you're going to have people who won't like you, who will judge you. And are you going to care about a small percentage of people, or you're going to, care about the 90% of people who adore your work and who you want to support and serve?
Yeah, and you have to focus on that positivity. Like there's enough negativity in this world. We see it all the time. But if you can focus on the positive aspects, like putting yourself out there, talking about your accomplishments, what will that get you? Opportunities. You'll feel good. It'll get you positive energy. Focus on all the greatness and the good that will come out of you being able to be vulnerable in that moment. And don't worry about all the other stuff. We can't fix that, unfortunately. But what we can do is we can strive for the best.
Amazing, amazing. So final question, what does it mean to you to own your voice, value, and visibility?
It means that I'm a badass every single day, all day. Like that's it. It means that I'm a badass. Like I told myself that 2021 was the year of badassery. And, owning your voice, your value, and your visibility means that you walk in this space, you walk in this world as the woman or man you want to be every single day. And what else could that be besides badass? That's what it means. It means you feel good about you. And that is badass.
Look at all the comments right now. I love it. So where can people find you, Jasmine?
So people can find me on LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Instagram at Jasmine Escalera Coaching. I love to connect with everyone. DM me if you have questions, and I cannot wait to see your connection request.
Oh, thank you so much. This was so good. And thank you for being you, speaking from your heart, encouraging others. What a great way to kick off the show. Thank you so much. And I look forward to supporting you and supporting each other as well and elevating our community.
Thank you. Same. And I can't wait to see all of the other amazing women that you put together. This is a blessing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right. You have a good one. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Oh, wasn't that amazing? That was so good. Continue the conversation here. So next up, we have Keka DasGupta, who's going to be here with us to share with us about stepping into your own power to live your life fully. I'm super excited to chat with Keka. I just met her a couple weeks ago through another mutual connection that we have. Keka is the founder of a global personal development platform called The Art of Lifing. For 23 years, Keka worked in the PR and marketing industry with clients such as Disney, Nike, IKEA, American Express, and many more. During this time, she received more than 50 national and international awards. Amazing. As a TEDx speaker and professional speaker, Keka helps her audience of educators, parents, students, and corporate leaders use world-class branding principles to dramatically improve their own mental well-being. Are you guys ready to welcome Keka? I want you to start typing in the chat here. Go Keka to welcome her to the stage here. Hi.
Hello, hello.
How are you, Keka?
I'm great. How are you? I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Like we just, clicked. Once we started talking, once we got connected, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I gotta have you, come on speak with us here. You have an amazing experience, just a amazing, outlook on life as well. So I can't wait to hear about your story with us here. So why don't we start off with, tell us a little bit about your cultural upbringing. What's one cultural value that had an impact on you, good or bad?
Amazing. Okay, well, I was born in Canada, in Toronto, Canada, but my parents are originally from India, from Calcutta, so we're Bengali. And one of the things that I grew up hearing from my parents all the time was, I have a younger brother who's 3 years younger, and my parents would always say, you need to take care of your little brother. You are older, you need to make sure that the people around you are taken care of. So if you're a leader, you cannot just say, I'm just talking for myself. I need to be able to not be selfish and actually take care of everybody. So I grew up with that idea of always making sure that if I'm the person in a leadership position, I need to make sure everybody's okay. Lo and behold, I'm in a training session once when I was in-house at IKEA, and we're doing group programs and discussions, and then we have to share our thinking. And every time I would say, we talked about this and we think this, the facilitator kept correcting me and saying, no, you can't speak on behalf of anybody else. You can only speak on behalf of yourself. So you have to say, I, not we. I, not we, I, not we. And I thought, why can't I get this? The we just kept coming out. And I remembered later upon reflection that this is what I grew up with, was that if I spoke only on behalf of myself, I'd be selfish, and that I really need to take care of everybody else. So today, when it comes to that East, meets West kind of culture, I'm tickled pink when I look at the me to we type of culture that we're in, or even in this pandemic, that our actions are impacting everybody else. I kind of see the merging of that Eastern and Western culture coming together, and it just kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah, I can see people are saying here, I totally relate what you said too. Growing up, I was the eldest of 3 younger siblings, and I was told you got to be the big sister, take care of your siblings, be a good role model.
Yeah, exactly. It's our job.
It's our job. Exactly. It's our job.
Yep.
So what challenges did you face in your career or business? How did you handle them?
Oh gosh, I feel like when I first started my career, for example, one of the first interviews I went into after I graduated from university, I had a woman actually ask me in the interview, do you know your ABCs? And I was like, if you look at my resume, I went to university with a scholarship. I went to the World Debating Championships representing my country. What would prompt you to ask me if I know my ABCs? And she said, well, there's filing involved, and I need to know that you can do it. So, there was a whole backstory to it, but clearly I didn't feel welcome in that room. And I thought, you know what? I have bigger fish to fry, and I have to do other things. And so I moved on from there. I've been in workforce situations where I've felt like my direct manager would get threatened every time I would grow in my job. So there have been, many different things that have come up. But the one thing that I've always kept steady in my mind is that, when my father came to this country with my mom, and they were immigrants, my dad was the sole breadwinner. And in that generation, people stayed in one job pretty much forever, So when he got passed up for opportunity for promotion, he had a family to take care of, and he said, I don't have a choice, I have to stay here. And I made a promise to myself when I watched my dad, when he was so good at his job and he wouldn't get the promotions because they needed him in that position, I made a promise to myself that, I'm never going to make that compromise because I want to do right by my dad. So one of the things that I really kept true for myself was that anytime I was in a job, if I didn't feel like I was being treated fairly, or if I felt like I could grow and I wasn't getting those opportunities, I fought for myself. I voiced my opinions. I went to my manager. I went to HR. And if it didn't work, I looked for other opportunities. I was like, if this is not going to work for me, I will move on. And that's something that has really helped me in my career as I've grown, is that I haven't made compromises on that integrity and that promise I made to my dad. But ultimately, that promise that I made to myself was that if a situation in a work situation is not going to work for me, I'm going to move on. And I feel like we're lucky in the marketplace today where people constantly change and move jobs. So we have that freedom in our generation today.
Oh, I love that. What you just said here is you gotta speak up, essentially. Right.
Yes.
My sub question to this is, because I know you've had a very successful career. Can you maybe share with the audience what's been the key to your success? I know you talk about voicing your opinion, but what are some things you've done to get yourself into management leadership positions?
I'm a lifelong learner. So any opportunity I have to learn, I will grow. And, I used to hear a lot of the time my colleagues beside us going, oh, well, that's not my job. That's not my role or responsibility. And I can say that in the 23, 24 years that I've been in my working life, I have never said that is not part of my job if there was an opportunity for me to learn. But what it did for me was, even if in the current position I was in, it didn't grow or advance me in terms of where I wanted to go, I took that intel with me into other parts of my work, or the next phase of my chapter in my working career. So it was always something where I could, if I learned and I worked hard, I could give to myself, and also that I needed to believe in myself. It's one of those things where I once I was going into this really big advertising pitch. It was a multi-million-dollar program. I was going in as a PR expert to a mining company. So I was with the board of directors. So if you can imagine, little old Indian me, I'm 5'1". I'm the only woman in the room, only person of color. All the other people were men who were, in their 60s. I was in my 30s at the time. They're all Caucasian, cowboys, really lovely people, really lovely men. But they were nothing, none of them looked like anything like me.
Mm-hmm.
And for a split moment, I had one of those, doubts, like, these guys are trading $1 million in their companies for breakfast every day. Who am I to come in here? We talked about imposter syndrome with Jasmine, as you mentioned before. I was like, who am I to come in here and talk about this? And then suddenly I recentered myself, and I was like, hang on a second. These guys might be really great when it comes to the mining industry, but they don't know PR the way I know PR. I'm like, I know what I need to do for them from a public relations perspective. And I recentered myself, thought about all the hard work I've put into my career to become the subject matter expert. So when I stood up there and I presented, I owned that stage, and I owned my worth and what I was talking about. And so the group really valued me, really respected me. It didn't matter that I was different. It didn't matter I was the only girl. I had to believe in myself. So working hard and then believing in yourself were the two.
I love this. My heart is like singing right now. I'm like, own this stage, own your words, own your voice. Like, that's what it's about. I love it. I love it. So why do you do what you do? What's something that you're most proud of here?
Oh my gosh, what I'm most proud of. I feel like when I was growing up, I saw a lot of people around me who were going into jobs where they weren't happy, but they weren't making a change, and for whatever reason, there's no judgment there. Different people have different situations. But I made a promise to myself that every single day when I get up and I go to work, I want to love going to work. I want to do something where it doesn't feel like work, but I'm like, yes, let's do this. And so I followed my passion in that way. And I went into public relations, and I went into marketing. And a few years back, I thought, there's something more I need to do with my life. I just need to do something different. And I felt called to sort of speak on stage and share something of my heart. But as a marketer, I was talking on stages all the time, but it wasn't coming from my heart. It was coming from my expertise. And I needed to push myself. And that's where I literally forced myself to put out a post on Facebook one day and say, I have an anti-bullying program for schools that I want to do. Do I know any teachers or any friends who could let me into a school? Thinking that maybe one or two people might make an introduction. And I actually had no program all written out. It was all sort of in my head on what I wanted to do. And I was flooded with supportive people who were like, let me put you in touch with this person and that. And at the end of the day, that's how my Art of Lifing brand started. I followed my heart once again after a 23-year career, and I said, what do I really want to do? And so today, when I go out on stages with corporate companies or with schools and I talk about the Art of Lifing, I am speaking from my heart. And once again, I feel like, this is my soul's work. It's what I'm meant to do, and it doesn't feel like work. So I'm really grateful for that.
That's amazing. So that's how you pivoted your career after 23 years. You pivoted. And becoming a speaker and sharing your voice and message.
Here's the crazy thing about it, Diana, is that, when I first started, I thought, do I leave my entire 23-year marketing career behind me and start from scratch again, which feels a bit daunting. And I'm not one of those people who dives both feet into a pool. I'm very dip the toe in the water, make sure it's okay. But I followed my heart, and I followed the belief inside of me that what I have to offer has value. So when I first went in to do these training programs with kids, I was just really looking for feedback, and the kids were amazing, and the teachers were amazing. And so even on the back of my head, I thought, I'm not an educator. I don't have a doctorate in psychology. What am I doing talking to these kids? I kept thinking, my heart's telling me to do this. I know that I have something important to say. And then as I started doing it, that's when I started to realize, wait a minute, in the marketing world, I have spent 23 years connecting people to people, people to brands. I focused entirely on relationships and how people feel. I started to look at branding principles and saying, oh my God, if we apply this to mental health, this can be transformative. So I knew it and I had the intel. I just didn't have the clarity at the time. But I really have learned that in the absence of clarity, we have to take action. And that's really what propelled me to get into this.
Amazing. Wendy just commented, this is brilliant. I'm in a similar life circumstance here.
Oh my God.
And I'm curious to hear from the audience, like, are any of you who are in that career journey, like where you have 10 plus years, 20 plus years experience, and you're looking to make this huge pivot that seems daunting, but just listening to Keka's story is so inspiring that you just put yourself out there and experiment to see what the feedback is. And then you listen to your heart and took the leap of faith and made the jump.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love it. I love it. So let's dive into your topic, step into your own power. What does power mean to you? How to step into your own power and influence others?
Okay. Step into your power to me means this. If all of us here today close our eyes for a moment and think about the person who looks up to us the most, or the person that we care about the most. So this can be our children, it could be a younger sibling, it could be a friend who really relies on us. We all have somebody in our lives who relies on us, asks us for help or advice. If we want to encourage them, what do we say to them? We say, I believe in you. Right?
Yeah.
If you're a parent and you see your child struggling with something and they're nervous, what do we say to them? I know you can do this. I believe in you. We instill confidence in them. What do coaches do when it comes to sports teams? We're like, you got this. We're going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Why don't we do that to ourselves? If we want to step into our power, we have to be our own biggest champion. And sometimes that's hard to do, especially as women, we're taught to be selfless and give to other people. But to me, I keep thinking to myself, I've got 2 boys who are 10 and 14. If I see that they're not confident in themselves, what do I have to do for them? And I have to give them all the confidence in the world and encourage them. Well, I have to walk the talk. Because if I don't do it for myself, they're going to watch me and say, you can talk all you want, but you're not doing that for yourself. So why should I do that? Right? So now as a mom, I'm like, I have to be good to myself. I have to be my biggest champion. And that's what I mean when I say step into your power, is that we have to believe that what we have to give means something to the world. If we believe it, the world will believe it.
Oh, I love it. If we believe it, the world will believe it. This is like marketing 101.
Yes. And honestly, Diana, I have been in so many different make it or break it meetings with presentations where there's multi-million dollars of an account on the line. And I have learned that we're presenting creative concepts to brand marketers and CEOs. If I get on that stage and I share my creative ideas, but I share it where I wholeheartedly believe this will work, 100% of the time, my clients have believed it too. And so I've seen that time and time again in the most powerful boardrooms, the most powerful presentations. And if it can happen there, oh my God, it can totally happen in our hearts as well.
Oh, I love that, the belief. Similar just said, my daughter shadowed my behavior. So if I believe it, she'll believe it. If I do it, she will do it.
Yes.
I love that. Rabni said, I believe in myself. I love it. This is like a motivational talk here. I love this. I feel like, this is the recording that you can listen to this talk like that. You got this. I believe in you.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
I love it. So let's talk a bit about, from your experience in marketing, what are some of the unconscious bias formed from marketing and advertising? And
Diana, I get so passionate about this because as a marketer, we know, for example, just the advertising, forget even social media, advertising around us, each of us are exposed to 5,000 messages per day. And those are hitting us subconsciously. Mm-hmm. So, we don't necessarily think about it. Like I was working with this one woman on an amazing project with a tribal community in Colombia, in Tucci in Colombia. And for a week, we were in this little condo that had no mirrors. And I can tell you that in that week, where it's 90-degree humidity, we were sweating our faces off, I didn't have a mirror to look at what I looked like. And for not a single day in those 7 days did I care what I was wearing. But, getting ready for today or any day when we get into work, right? How many of us have put on an outfit? No, I don't like this. We're going to change this and that. Those mirrors reflect back on us the story we tell ourselves, right? Mm-hmm. And so when it comes to marketing, I'll give you one example that I use in some of my talks. There is, we all know L'Oreal, nothing against the company. They're an amazing company doing amazing things, but they have an advertisement out, a TV advertisement. You can YouTube it and check it out, but it's Eva Longoria, and she's promoting the root touch-up. So, I have my grays. This is a product that I can use, but here's Eva Longoria, one of those beautiful beautiful Latino actresses and women we know. She is in the commercial sitting and she's on her phone, and suddenly the doorbell rings and the pizza delivery guy comes in. And you can see in the commercial, she's like, oh my gosh, she covers the part in her hair, runs over, takes the root touch-up, puts it on, and suddenly that gives her confidence. And then she opens up the door for the pizza delivery guy, and she's like, ooh, the pizza's really hot, you know, in a really nice, flirtatious way. The humor is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when we as women watch that commercial, what's the subliminal takeaway that our subconscious takes? That if a woman as gorgeous as Eva Longoria can't bear to show herself to a pizza delivery guy, there's no hope for any of us, right? That we become dependent on products. And this is the biggest thing that I think that, you know, we cannot fix a problem we're not aware of. I want people to know when it comes to subconscious bias, that sort of unconscious bias that we pick up, we have to know that we have to be able to know that we are enough without any product, any service, anything else, no matter what we do. If we're just here, we are enough. Otherwise, all those unconscious biases are going to hit us every day, and we're going to keep fighting them. So the best thing we can do is become aware of it.
Yeah, being aware. Oh, amazing. I love that. How to be more inclusive in day-to-day interactions with others from different cultures?
Oh gosh, you know, I think that this is my belief in working 23 years in marketing, is that there is magic in every person. And it's been my job for 23 years to find that magic. And so when any of us, whether we're in a leadership position or not, we are often working with other people as team players. How do we see the magic in other people? If we can see people for their whole self, you know, their cultural elements, their upbringings, their personality, if we can see all of that, that's when we can be way more inclusive. So, you know, I feel like one of the big things we need to do is educate ourselves, obviously. So reading books and watching documentaries and all of those things are great. But when you come to somebody in your workplace or your school or wherever you are in your community and say, you know, I don't know much about your culture and I really want to know more about it. Can you share with me? What are your practices? What do you feel most proud of? Get somebody to share themselves with you. You're going to see their magic. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. And that inclusiveness becomes second nature when we do that. That's really what I believe. When it comes to diversity and inclusion, ask questions authentically from your heart and get to know the people around you.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, you said this could be a great interview question to ask employers as well. That's a good one. Yeah. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
How to go from living life on autopilot to doing life on purpose? I know this is really your guiding principle, what you do.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, so often we are taught in society that like the accolades we want that are going to make us happy are external. I need a promotion. I need to make more money. I need to be married. I need to have kids. Like, and, you know, there's all kinds of things that sort of society tells us that we need to do in order to be happy. And I was victim to that. You know, a few years ago, I had a friend that came over for a play date with her kids. And, you know, we go back a long way. And she said to me, oh my God, Keka, you have got to stop living in fear. Like this tension you have, this fear, you just have to relax and let go. And it came out of left field for me. I was like, you know, I have a pretty successful career. I have a beautiful husband. I have 2 amazing children. I feel really, really lucky. I feel gratitude every day. I don't really know what you're talking about. And it was only because I really trusted her. She's like a sister to me, that I said, okay, Radhika, like what's going on here? Let's get deeper. What am I missing? And what I started to realize is that I needed everything to be perfect. You know, like I needed to have a perfect marriage. And if something wasn't perfect about it, oh my God, I would get so nervous. Or my kids needed to do really well in school. They needed to be happy. They needed, like, could you imagine? They need to be this, they need to be happy. They, you know, we're not giving them freedom to be who they want to be, freedom to make mistakes and learn from them. I wasn't giving myself any freedoms to make mistakes. I needed to be perfect at everything because I felt like I needed approval from other people. But when that happens, we are living under other people's rules and not our own. So when I talk about the art of life and kind of living life on purpose and doing it on our own terms, it's really like when we take charge and we become the CEO of our own life, because the CEOs make their own decisions for how they're going to steer the company and everybody else follows, right? And when they show that leadership and they say, this is what we're going to do, everybody feels their energy and confidence and they go, yeah, let's do this. We're all going to do it. We need to do that with our own lives, is we need to do it on our own terms and believe in ourselves. Because when we do, that's when we find happiness. And, you know, there's going to be ups and downs in life. We have to embrace all of that with what we're going to learn. That's really the biggest thing that I'm on my own journey doing this. And my goal is to be able to bring other people on so we can do this collectively together.
Oh, amazing. Beautiful. Oh my goodness. Keka, where can people find you?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I have a YouTube channel called The Art of Lifing with Keka. I would love for them to check out my videos there. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm also on Instagram. My handle's The Art of Lifing. And yeah, I just really want to have connections with you, and let's do this together. And yeah, do life on purpose.
Do life on purpose. Guys, make sure to check out Keka's TEDx talk as well. It was so beautiful. Like, I had to reach out to her once I watched it. So take a look. Just do a search on YouTube and you'll be able to find it. Thank you so much. It was just motivational. Like, I can see the chat in here. People are like, this is what I needed today. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's such an honor to be here. And I can't wait to hear the other talks. This is amazing, Diana.
Amazing. All right, you take care. Bye, Keka.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. Oh, are we on fire or what? I'm seeing these chats here. This is amazing. I'm hearing like this is what I need. It's so good. Let's just keep the vibrational energy up here. So next up, we have my dear friend Kamara Toffolo. We're going to talk about overcoming imposter syndrome. Kamara is a resume writer, LinkedIn consultant, and job search strategist who helps her clients worldwide dare to work differently. Kamara was recognized as a LinkedIn top voice in 2020 and was also named by JobScan as the #1 job search expert to follow on LinkedIn in 2019. She's been featured in major media, including Forbes, Business Insider, Inc., the Wharton Business School Radio, and LinkedIn News, among others. Prior to making her mark in career development, Kamara spent 12 years in the financial services and technology industries, working for SMBs and Fortune 500 companies. Let's type in Go Kamara. All right, and welcome her to the stage.
Hi,
Hello.
Diana. Hi. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you. This is like mini summit.
It is. It is. And talk about imposter syndrome. Hello, I'm having it right now, coming on after 2 TED Talk speakers. Hello. Like,
you're LinkedIn top voice. You're LinkedIn.
Still, I've never done a TED Talk. Thank you.
Let's get some words of encouragement for Kamara here, guys.
Please, please, please. I need it. Thanks, Diana.
This has been amazing. Look, they're like, go, Kamara.
Thanks, everyone. I love it.
Oh my
I'm feeling the love.
I love having you here on my show again. I just had you like last year in December, and you had me in November. And I just love that you and I keep supporting each other. Like, that's what I'm so grateful for, that we're continuing to elevate each other there. So thank you.
Thank you for having me back. I'm so excited about this summit. This is such a great group of women that you've gathered. And yeah, I was listening to Jasmine's and Keka's and learning all sorts of stuff. So
yeah. So why don't we kick off here? Tell us about your cultural upbringing. What's one cultural value that had an impact on you, good or bad?
Sure. So my cultural upbringing, I'm mixed race. So my maternal side is Japanese. My father's side, is that fraternal? Is mostly German. But I'm more in touch with the Japanese side of things, which I think is pretty common when it's your mother's heritage. And I've also lived in Japan. And from a cultural upbringing point of view, it was confusing at times because we lived in a predominantly Caucasian community. And also my mother does not speak Japanese. My grandparents were in the internment camps during World War II. So they were encouraged to assimilate following the war. And so a lot of the language was lost between those generations. So it was confusing at times, but I'm very proud of my heritage. And in terms of a value, I would say that cultural values were well retained. And one of those that my mother instilled on us is attention to detail, which is very common if you ever have had sushi, if you ever have seen ikebana or bonsai. Attention to detail is a big deal in the Japanese culture, and the pursuit of perfection almost. And so that had positive impact, obviously, but negative as well, especially as I was launching my business, getting kind of paralysis in the pursuit of perfection, PPP, I guess. And yeah, so it's something that I have an internal conflict with, if I'm being totally honest, because I'm all about launching imperfectly. I think we've talked about that, or perfect imperfection or something like that.
Yeah.
So that's something I have some conflict with internally that I'm always dealing with. But anyway, so that's, yeah.
So let's talk about the challenges that you faced in your current business. How did you handle them?
In my current business, so challenges that I faced was kind of the transition. I certainly dealt with my fair share of imposter syndrome, so to speak, coming from a background in financial services and making such a huge pivot into the career space, not having that HR background, not having that recruiting background. And I still think about it to this day, like, well, what if I had that? I could be more credible. But, I've been in it now 6 years. So I think I'm okay. I think I know what I'm talking about to a certain extent. And so, but it is.
But you and I, I've sent over about 100 clients to you there.
I know.
Absolutely fine.
I should not be saying that. Yeah.
We work with so many amazing clients. All my clients have been 100% satisfied. So I got to give you kudos there.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. So yeah, but of course, not having the traditional qualifications, I'll say, to do what I do. Is there anything traditional to being a resume writer though? But not having those traditional qualifications, were what caused me some struggles, but I think I've overcome them for the most part.
Yeah. Thank you for just your vulnerability and sharing here. I love it. You're being raw and real here. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. When you're starting something new or your own business or new job, that you may feel like, hey, I don't have this, or I don't have this traditional background. Will I be successful, or can I do this? Right? Can you guys relate to that there? So Kamara, why do you do what you do? What are you proud of?
Yeah. So I do what I do just in 2 words, to help. So it's been leaving financial services where I didn't have I feel like I had a direct impact on the value or the results I was providing. Now I feel like I can see the results of the help that I'm providing. So it's really truly to help. In terms of launching my YouTube YouTube channel, as well as my Office Hours live show, which you were on, that was born of course, wanting to help, but really wanting to help people during this difficult time that we're all in. So.
Yeah, it's amazing. Thank you. So let's dive into your topic, overcome imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
What triggers imposter syndrome, and how does one know they have imposter syndrome?
Yeah. So I think Jasmine really hit the nail on the head earlier when you were chatting with her. It's really about self-doubt. It all boils down to doubt. And so doubting ourselves, despite being qualified or despite being capable, having that doubt that is just holding us back from doing what we know we can do, but for some reason doubt. And that's really what it is. It's holding you back. That's how we know that we have imposter syndrome from my experience, is it holds us back from taking action, holds us back from applying for a job, holds us back from asking for a promotion. And it's really something you see a lot amongst women, because we're conditioned in a different way than men are in terms of how we perceive ourselves, how we talk about our own value. And in being conditioned that way, it can be very challenging to actually not start to doubt ourselves.
Yeah, it's good. I have a question here from Eula. What do you think of the saying, fake it until you make it?
I like it. I'm not sure I like the phrasing of it. I wish we could come up with something else, but it's catchy, right? Yeah. I think that oftentimes we need to flex the muscle before it can get stronger, essentially. So sometimes it's just about taking the action. And I found that I did that in my own business, is I just took the action, and I did kind of fake it until I could make it. And yeah, I think it's something that can help you kind of get over that hurdle of doubting yourself, and also build your confidence along the way, because you're taking that action, you're executing, and that can prove to you that you're quite capable.
Yeah. I was listening to a live yesterday, Jennifer Brick's show. She was talking to Jacob. I forgot his last name, but he's certified firewalker. And
certified.
Yeah, certified firewalker, walked on glass, and has also done the arrow breaking as well. And he talks about, to ties into this, is it's not just about mind over matter, but it's priming yourself in the right state of mind, that you can do anything. Like it's in that state, so that you're just in that zone, essentially, in order to move forward there. And I really believe this when it comes to job seekers going for interviews or networking. You have to prime yourself, in that state of mind. It's not just about faking it, but you got to work on that mindset and the body to go in with strength and power and confidence. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. And we can definitely dig into that as well. I have some thoughts on that. So.
Okay. Yeah. Let's talk about, how does imposter syndrome hinder in getting a job or promotion? Yeah.
So it really almost physically holds us back from hitting send on an application. It holds us back from asking for that promotion, making that business case for that promotion. And it also can hold us back in kind of the pre-work, in terms of not raising your hand for a particular project, not raising your hand to participate in a certain kind of leadership capacity, so that you can build more qualifications, which will further support you in overcoming that imposter syndrome. So it's really kind of a catch-22 cycle, ongoing cycle of just kind of being held back by ourselves.
Yeah. It sounds like I'm hearing it. So just playing small, right? Like that, just taking, more like smaller, instead of taking bigger steps or bold moves there, right?
You betcha.
Hold us back. Oh, I love that. How to overcome imposter syndrome? What are some strategies or steps to take? Yeah.
So really getting back in touch with facts. So I'm not very good about talking about strategies for shifting mindset, because I still am working on that myself. But what I am good with is getting back in touch with the facts about yourself, so that you can renew faith in yourself. Yeah. And so the facts being, what have I accomplished in my work? And so that's why it's so important to track your work wins on an ongoing basis, because they're facts about you. Facts can't be disputed. And so that will allow you to kind of mitigate bringing the emotions into your perception of yourself, or bringing what you believe into your qualifications. And you can just look at the hard facts of, this is what I've done. So that would be my first main suggestion, is to really know what you've accomplished and track it on an ongoing basis.
That totally makes sense. And I mean, this really ties in what you do as a resume writer, that you're really good at pulling out all the facts so that you can highlight what makes them amazing. I love that. Like, it's just really getting into the facts of it. Like, what's the truth of it?
Exactly. What's the truth? Yeah. And it's just so easy to cloud the truth when we are in our head. So just get it on paper or digital, and just look at it. And I feel like that helps us keep an objective viewpoint of what we've actually done, because we're seeing it written down. We're not just thinking about oh, why am I qualified? Well, I think I'm qualified because, and that was something that Marie Zimanoff and I were chatting about last night during office hours, is women tend to, and I think she even had a stat for it. She had a lot of great stats, but women tend to use language like I think and I believe in their resumes, LinkedIn, interview stories, cover letters. And when they do that, it automatically discounts the great work that they've done. So what's more important is to just lead with, I did this, I led this, I executed this. Save the think and believe for other conversations.
Yeah, that's a good one. The language matters there. So how to stop selling yourself short in a resume or LinkedIn profile?
Yes. So one area where I see people really sell, or women especially, but men also do this as well, where it's kind of like an automatic way to sell yourself short in your resume, in your LinkedIn, is when people say, well, I can't take credit for that. It was a team effort. And yes, you can take credit for something that you contributed to. And there's a big difference between taking credit and taking all the credit. And so by no means am I suggesting taking all the credit for a team effort, but you need to honor your contribution to that team effort. So, or to that actual achievement that was achieved as a collective. And so, that's how I'm seeing people sell themselves short, by saying, as part of a team, I did this. You can put as part of a team. And one great tip that Maria gave is you can put as part of a team at the end of the accomplishment bullet that you're writing, just, for that clarity factor. But really what we want to do on our resume, on our LinkedIn, is to use active verbs, as she reminded me and pointed out. So there's that factor. On LinkedIn, I see people selling themselves short by not fully using LinkedIn to its full advantage. There's so much great real estate on our LinkedIn profiles that people forget to use, or they just think a LinkedIn profile should be short, so they just don't want to fill it out. There's so much space. The summary portion I see so underused. In not telling our stories. We want to use that to tell our stories. Descriptions of roles. We want to talk about the work that we were proud of, the work that we love doing, and as it relates to our current career direction. So yeah, those are just a couple things.
Oh, I love that. You know what? I totally agree with you that, a lot of times I see like most people like don't really sell themselves on LinkedIn, but once they do it, it's like night and day. I've seen clients where it's like taking to the next level, and instantly they'll get opportunities because it's like their brand elevated there.
100%. Yes.
Amazing. What does it mean to you to own your voice, value, and visibility?
Good one. Yeah, I had to really noodle this one a bit. So for voice, to own your voice, for me, that really means to know the messages that you want, that other people want to hear from you, and tell those messages. So particularly in your job search, what do future employers want to hear from me that shows that I'm qualified, and to communicate those. To own your value, similarly, it ties in with accomplishments and qualifications, but to understand that and own the fact that your grouping of skills, your skill set, your groupings of strengths are unique, and they offer unique value that no one else can offer. So knowing where that uniqueness is. And then in terms of owning visibility, is to always remember that you're your own best job search advocate. You're your own best advocate in everything, and to show up where you want to be seen, or where you need to be seen on a consistent basis.
Oh, this is so good. Guys, type in your key learnings here. So many great tips. I'm loving this. This is so good. I'm loving this. Like, I'm going to be listening back to the replay.
Awesome.
It's very just motivational, inspiring, and you're just hearing from women's like your stories and all that. Thank you so much. I love it. Where can people find you, Kamara?
Well, I'm Kamara Toffolo everywhere. And so I've got my YouTube channel, Kamara Toffolo. I think it's Kamara Toffolo Careers. My website, KamaraToffolo.com. I'm at Kamara Toffolo on Twitter, Kamara T on LinkedIn, and also on Instagram, Kamara Toffolo. So I will see you there.
Amazing. Connect with her, guys. Make sure to check out her YouTube channel. She has tons of great videos there, and she also does like a weekly live as well. I love like the ones where you help give feedback on people's resumes as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, those are a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you for having me. We always have a great time.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. You take care. Have a good weekend.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. This was so good, guys, wasn't it? What are some of your key learnings here? This was really, really good. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take a quick stretch break. I'm going to give you guys all a 1-minute stretch break. I'm going to play a little 1-minute video here, do a little stretch break, get your water if you like. And then when we come back, I'm going to bring Rhona on board there. Okay. So just take a moment for a break there. All right, welcome back to the show on Own Your Voice, Value, and Visibility. I am so excited to have you guys here. So next up, we have my guest speaker, Rhona Pierce here. So let me just bring this up first. I just want to make sure we got the right setup here. Yes, Rhona Pierce here. Awesome. So Rhona is a personal branding strategist, and her talk is building your personal brand to increase your earning potential. She is the founder of She's the founder at How to Level Up. She helps overlooked professionals capture the attention of employers and secure interviews with ease by helping them find their voice and establish an undeniable personal brand. She's worked in the tech industry for over a decade in software engineering, project management, and recruiting. She was recently recognized as a top job search expert to follow on LinkedIn in 2021. So guys, I want you to start typing in the chat here and type "Go Rhona." And let's welcome her onto the stage here. Hello, hello.
Hi, Diana. Hi, everyone. I'm good. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, me too. I'm so glad we got connected through Kamara.
Yes, so excited.
Right? I just love how we just get connected and get to know each other. Thank you so much for being here today. So I'm going to bring the chat room back as well so that we can see the chat room where what people have to ask as well. So why don't we start off with a question? Tell us a little bit about your cultural upbringing. Let me just bring this up here. Oops, getting back to, there's so many questions I want to go through. Okay, so tell us about your cultural upbringing. What's one cultural value that had an impact on you, good or bad?
So I'm from Panama in Central America, and I was raised, both of my parents are from Panama, but they are of West Indian descent. So my grandparents are from the Caribbean islands. And we are people that are shown or are like taught to respect our elders, to strive to be the best at what you're doing. And that education is, like my mom always said, education is the most important inheritance I'm going to give you. I'm not going to leave you a lot of money. I'm going to spend all my money on your education so that you can build a life for yourself. We're also people that we don't show our emotions in public. And I think as far as things that have had, that's what has had an impact on me. I'm very competitive. I'm always trying to be the best. I think I'm always trying to make my parents proud. I'm 40 years old and I'm still like, is this going to make my parents proud type of thing? And I struggle. I'm not going to say never, but I struggle with showing my emotions in public and at work because I was taught to be something like, this is something you deal with at home type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. What challenges did you face in your career, your business?
Ooh, that
And
that's a
I would love if you can talk about your video resume as well, because I watched
oh
that. It was good. About your story, how you stood
for
out.
sure. And that definitely ties in. I mean, struggles that I faced in my career, especially after moving to the US, I moved here 11 years ago, was
Yeah.
being overlooked. After being in Panama, having my career, and just moving here, I thought, okay, I'm just going to leave there. I moved here because my husband's from here. I'm going to leave Panama. I'm going to take a few months off, and then I'm going to come in, send my resume, magically get a job in the software industry. Crickets. I would hear nothing. And that's not what I was used to. I was used to like applying to jobs, getting interviews, and getting people to refer me. But it was hard. It was many, many months of crying, like literal crying. My husband was like, what are we going to do? Just because I wouldn't get interviews.
Yeah.
So that's when, and I always had my personal brand. I was on LinkedIn and everything. But that's when I just thought, let's take my personal brand to the next level and start using video. So I got inspired for video because of my husband. He's used video all his life for everything. And I created a video cover letter because I thought if people could just see me, hear me, and know what I bring to the table, then any concerns that they probably had by seeing my resume of someone who hadn't worked in this country, had no experience like in the US, would probably be squashed. And it literally worked. Like, yeah. I sent that video and I started getting so many interviews and just posting, and people would find it and people would call me. It was like a magical, life-changing moment, as cheesy as that sounds.
Oh my gosh, you guys have to go check it out. If someone has a link, feel free to share it or just search it on YouTube. I think it's brilliant. Like the quality of the video is amazing. Like I actually watched the entire thing. I watched the cover letter one and the resume one, and I think it's such a great strategy to stand out. And we can talk more about that later on. But just so I'm understanding, it's like once you did that, that's when you start getting interview opportunities.
Yes, that's when I started getting interview and being on the other side now of hiring here in Tulsa, where I live in Oklahoma. I think people's concerns were kind of like, she's an immigrant. Do we need to sponsor her? Does she speak English? All of these things, like, who is this girl? She graduated from some college we've never heard of. So getting to hear me and see me and like me explain what I would write, my first cover letter, I literally read written cover letters that I would write. That was my script. I've now, the cover letter that's out there now, I've learned a lot what not to do and what to do. But literally, I was just explaining what you would usually explain in a cover letter in a video. And people just, man, and that interviewing after someone sees your video cover letter is a totally different experience because they actually feel like they know you. Yeah. So they treat you, it's so different. At first I was like, ooh, wow, this is weird. This is interesting for an interview.
I love it. I love it. So why do you do what you do? What are you most proud of in your career?
I'm the most proud of the fact that people have trusted me. Companies and individuals have trusted me to help them with their career. Companies have trusted me to build teams for them. And my coaching clients trust me to help them with their job search and with their personal brand. And I do it because I've been there. Like I said, I was there crying for months and months and being like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't just want to sit at home. I want to help my husband financially, and I want to work. Yeah. Type of thing. So that's what I do it because I've been there and I know how it feels. And I think that me having this experience and having overcome it, it would be a disservice. Like, I'm a helper by nature. So it'd be a disservice to not help other people who are in similar situations get the visibility, and just you feel so much more comfortable at work.
Yeah. That's amazing. Just really, helping others, making an impact. Oh, yeah. I just saw that some people can relate to this. And I'm curious to hear from audience. I mean, you can relate to this, like being new to a country where you feel like you were just overlooked, right? Because, you know, they think, I hear this a lot because I'm in Canada, you know, I sometimes work with people who are new to Canada, like they lack Canadian experience, right? And they don't get the interviews, and they come from very successful backgrounds there. So we'd love to hear from you guys about that. So let's to move into your topic of how can people of color build a personal brand to advance their career and earning potential?
I think the most important thing is knowing who you are. I'm very big proponent of your personal brand being a reflection of you. So figuring out who you are and what you want to be known for, and understanding and being okay with the fact that that can and will most likely change. You're not locked in to what you decide you want to be known for, but be yourself also. Don't try to be what you think employers or potential clients want you to be. It doesn't work. Like, you might get an interview, you might get a job by being a fake version of you out there, but how long can you really keep that up? I heard some really terrible advice the other day for Black women, especially, of, oh, if your name is of this certain type, change and use a more Americanized name or something like that. No way. I always say, be exactly who you are. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm not going to show up online on a video or in an interview and be like, yo, people, or something like that. Like, I would do that at work. I'm not going to lie, but I'm not going to do that necessarily. That's not always me, but I am Rhona in every video that you see, every interview that I go to, every blog post out there. It's who I am. I also think just having your personal brand really and giving evidence to employers out there of what you bring to the table really gives you an up as far as when it comes to negotiating salaries, because now people have evidence of what you can do, and that it's like a psychological thing, increases your value in their head. And also they get this kind of FOMO thing because they are aware that they're not the only people seeing you and interviewing you. So that has really helped both me and my clients, like having a personal brand.
Yeah, it's essentially elevating your credibility, right? That's what it really is. Yes. And let's talk more about that in terms of how to establish that online presence and credibility to showcase your value. And I think specifically I'm talking about like LinkedIn, you know, and how can people can really leverage that to its full potential for job searching.
Yeah, so I always tell people to start small. Choose one activity, whether it's blogging, videos, whatever, tweeting. Just choose one activity and do it consistently. And now consistently doesn't mean every day. It could be once a month. It could be once a week. Just do what feels comfortable for you. But I think the most important thing about putting yourself out there and establishing your online presence is it shouldn't be all about you. And it's like, people get it confused with personal brand. It's like me. No, it's about showing how you can help others, and the value that you bring. And everyone says, oh, only post about value. I always say, don't approach your brand, especially at the beginning, by asking people, click on this, comment on this, do this. No, start by giving. So I comment on posts. I share other people's posts. That increases your visibility. People like when you help them, and that helps them help you in the long run more.
I agree with that. It's really building the relationships. That's what it really is. It's nurturing the relationships. It doesn't have to be anything formal. It's really, I find it right now, I find it especially this year, I don't know if it's because I've been commenting more, but I've been doing the lives as well, that it's really easy to start a conversation just by, hey, thank you for coming to the show here. And then you just start a conversation with someone.
Yeah, it's truly changing because, and I mean, I made that mistake at the beginning. It was only me posting. Oh, why isn't anyone commenting?
Yeah.
But when you start commenting, when you start helping others and, hey, great post, or sharing someone else's post, things like that. I've met incredible people by just interacting with them online. Like Kamara, I've never seen her in person. I've literally never been to Canada. We met just
we're connecting. She's a connector as well. She's going to be connecting with all these other speakers. And that's what I love, right? Like we connect with each other. It's so important. So I know we talked a little bit about the video, cover letter, and resume. What are some tips to create one for those who are curious? And I want to give this as a challenge for those who are here. I want to challenge you guys to create a video, resume, and cover letter, and go use Rhona's one as an example. And I'm going to stretch you out of your comfort zone. What are some tips for them of what they can do here?
Ooh, that's a good one. Just don't. I always say, don't start your video with, "Hi, I'm Rhona." Like, no. Start it with, I call it, well, I don't call it, but then the video world, it's called a hook.
Hook, yep.
Say something to hook people in. Like, I think my current video starts with, what does it say? Hiring great employees isn't always easy, and keeping them around can be even harder. Finding the right or wrong employee can directly affect your business and at the end of the day, your life. And then after I've hooked them in, because I mean, that's someone wanting to hire a recruiter or a talent acquisition consultant, that's their problem. They're having a struggle finding good people. So you hook them in. And then after they're like, ooh, what's this about? Hey, I'm Rhona Pierce. And this is what I've done. And this is how I can help you. That's it. So the hook is the most important. The first 3 to 5 seconds of your video cover letter or video resume are the most important ones.
I agree. Oh, I love it. All about the hook. I just learned something yesterday from someone else. I forgot her last name, from Rachel. She talks about the hook, the hook, the look, the book. So the hook is what's going to get peak interest. The book is around the story, and then what did I say? The look is the brand. Oh, the look is the brand aspect to consider all that, which is what you're talking about as well. Amazing. So I want to dive in to talk about salary negotiation. And I'm going to show some stats here. This is more, I found some stats here in Canada. Racialized women earn an average 33% less than non-racialized men, earning 67 cents to the dollar. Newcomer women earn an average of 29% less than non-newcomer men there. So I want to ask you the question is, why should one negotiate, and when should they negotiate? What are some strategies for people of color to negotiate for more? I know it's a big one.
This is one of my favorite topics, as you know. I think, first of all, don't negotiate an offer until you don't have an offer in hand. And I'm talking about a written offer, not like verbal, like, hey, we want to hire you. That's not when you negotiate. When you have the offer, when you can see the total package that they're offering you, that's when you negotiate.
Yes.
Why negotiate? The truth is, and you've been a recruiter also, most companies are expecting you to negotiate. They don't give you their top final number straight off the bat because they know that people negotiate. So when you don't negotiate, you're potentially leaving money and perks and benefits on the table.
You're absolutely right. I had a client recently who got an offer. It was so funny. The hiring manager told the friend who referred this candidate to actually negotiate because HR manages the negotiation, like actually hinted you should negotiate there because the offer wasn't that great. And I guided her, and she got like $44,000 more after a week of negotiations. I'm like, look how much money you left on the table had you not asked for more.
I know. And as a recruiter, there have been so many times when I give an offer and people are like, yes, I'll take it. Mostly women. And I'm like, no, negotiate. But I can't tell them, ask them for more because I'm like supposed to be protecting the company and all of that. But yeah, always negotiate. But don't only think about it as money. That's
yes.
thing. You can negotiate benefits and stuff. I think the most important part of negotiating is basing it on facts. It's not what you want. It's not what you would like. It's not some hypothetical thing that would make you happier. It's, hey, I did some salary research, and based on my skills, experience, and then I always say, mention something that they've praised about you during the interview process. So if they said, oh, we really like the fact that you've worked with this before, based on my research, on my salary research, based on the fact that I've been working with, use their words, for X amount of years, I would feel more comfortable and more inclined to accept the offer if it were in this range.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. Guys, I'm just gonna do a little plug for you here. Go check out Rhona's TikTok video, the latest one, that you had a script on how to negotiate. I thought it was brilliant. I really love that. So go check it out there. So my last question to you is, what does it mean to you to own your voice, value, and visibility?
Ooh, I love that question. To me, it means confidence. Just having my personal brand, owning who I am, my voice, being able to be free and just say what I want to say, just owning that gave me confidence that helped me in so many areas of my life, but especially in my career. It gives me confidence for an interview. I go in confident to interviews. I know that when I'm negotiating a salary, I'm not being ungrateful. I'm not being greedy. I'm literally asking for what value I'm going to provide for this company. Yeah. And visibility, wow. The current job that I have, I never applied to. Someone who I had worked with a long time ago saw a YouTube video, totally unrelated, messaged me and said, hey, our company's hiring for this type of role. Are you interested? To be honest, I wasn't interested or looking at the time, but I'm like, I'll check it out just to help a friend out. And I love my job. I love the company that I work at. I love everything right now. So just you're being visible, and owning your voice and your value gives you this confidence to like, yeah, I'll take a meeting with someone. If it works for me, I'll work with you type of thing. Right. It's not like you're not on the other side, like begging, like, please, please, please type of thing.
Knowing your worth is going back to knowing your worth there, right? Yes. I know that's your saying there.
Yes, that's a saying that I love it, but you should see people on TikTok don't always like that I end my salary negotiation videos with know your worth. Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Okay, so I hang out the most on Twitter at Rhona B, so Rhona, RHONA, B as in boy, or on Instagram and TikTok at how2level-up. I'm also on LinkedIn, Rhona Pierce, Rhona Barnett Pierce, and on YouTube. The link to my YouTube channel is on my website, howtolevelup.com. And yeah, you can find me there. I have a blog. I have descriptions for my services and how we can work together. And I'm happy to answer any questions. So I always answer DMs, emails. That's where you can find me. But Twitter is where I hang out the most.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here today and dropping your gems with us.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.
Oh, have a great one. Thank you so much. We'll be in touch.
Thanks.
All right, take care. Oh, that was so good, guys. What were your key learnings here? Oh my goodness, I love it. I love the variety of topics today, and we're able to go into, big picture of like managing your life and career to like job search and salary negotiation, resume and LinkedIn. And next up, I have my friend Ricklyn Woods coming on stage, where she's going to talk about embracing courage over comfort to change careers. Ricklyn is a resume writer, career coach, and certified HR professional with over 15 years of experience in human resources. Ricklyn helps her clients attract opportunities that align with their values, strengths, and natural talents by helping them see their significance and articulate their awesomeness to potential employers. This week, she launched her podcast titled, So You Want to Work in HR, where she amplifies voices in HR by sharing their career stories. Let's give a round of applause and put in Go Ricklyn to welcome her on stage here. Hi, Ricklyn.
Hello.
How are you?
I am really good, and this is such a surreal moment. I was an attendee at your career summit, and now I'm on your stage. Like, how does that even happen?
That's crazy. I know you were just like three months ago, and I have to thank you. You were the one who messaged me afterwards and messaged that, you know, I wish there was someone like me, and it's because of that I'm running this event. So, and hence you're here. And I remember when you looked at me as like, I asked you, would you like to be a speaker? And you said yes. So you said yes right away. Thank you for speaking up and saying yes.
And thank you for being receptive to that feedback that you didn't necessarily ask for. And thank you for putting on this event and showcasing these wonderful women that I'm sharing the stage with. So thank you, Diana.
Oh, my pleasure. I have to say, I'm so grateful. I mean, I talked to you actually just a couple months ago for my 10-year business. I had you on my show for a little bit where I answered questions. So I feel like I already know you a little bit.
Oh,
And by the way, congrats on launching your podcast. That is huge.
thank you. Thank you. It is exciting. I'm still kind of on an adrenaline rush from the launch party and getting some feedback from folks who have started listening. So I'm super excited about it.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't wait to tune into that. So why don't we start with, tell us about your cultural upbringing. What's one cultural value that had an impact on you, good or bad?
Of course. So I grew up in inner city Los Angeles, and I came up at a time when those of you out there may be familiar with the Rodney King riots, where, you know, life for me was often a lot about survival. And I would say that's kind of the cultural value that I gained from my mom and grandmother. And it was kind of both good and bad, because it was good from the standpoint of I knew how to get a job. I knew how to go out and get a job and take care of myself. But it also created a mindset of fear that, you know, there was going to be lack, or there would never be enough, or really created this sense of security with having a job, to where being in entrepreneurship seemed like it was such a far off possibility, because my mindset was always on, I just have to survive.
And what challenges did you face in your career or business? How did you handle them?
Well, that's a great question. I think really throughout my entire career, while I had some great jobs, worked for some great companies, landed a great career in HR, I never really followed what was kind of my true north, or what was the fit for me personally. It was always about the next job, the next salary increase. I was a single mom. So just finding, you know, what was the right fit for me. It took me a long time to get clear on what my true purpose was, what my true talents were. And so I'm finally here now, after 20 years of working.
Yeah. And did you have anyone guiding you, or like, did you take any programs to help you with the discovery work?
You know, I watched a lot of Oprah Winfrey Super Soul Sunday.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a position to really afford a career coach at that time. And so I read a lot, and just really looked for people who inspired me, who was doing work that they enjoyed doing. And I would be like, I want to be able to be like them one day.
Yeah, amazing. And so why do you do what you do? And I know that you left your full-time career last year during the pandemic to start your business full-time.
I did. So a little bit about that transition, and then I'll explain kind of why I do what I do. So I love working in HR. It's a career that I'm glad that I was able to get into. And I did some great work in HR. But what I realized that what I enjoyed most in working in HR was when employees would come into my office and talk about some of their career challenges and seek me out for advice on what to do next. And when they would go out of my office feeling more confident, having courage to maybe take a next step, the feeling that I got from providing that support was just amazing. And so it was like, of all the things I do in HR, this is what I enjoy doing the most. It brings me the most fulfillment, and almost same as what Kamara mentioned, is that I really felt like I was making an impact. And so I actually started my business as a part-time side hustle while I was working. I was writing resumes, taking career coaching calls with individuals. And, you know, I just said, I want to feel this feeling all the time.
Wow.
And so that is why I do what I do. I am also a helper by nature, and I love being able to help people see the possibilities and reach their full potential.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I'm curious to hear from anyone here. Anyone are going through that discovery phase right now, trying to make a pivot, type in that, want to hear from you guys and what fears that you have. But what I love, what I heard from you is that you started as a side hustle, right? First, before going, all the way full time. And I want to hear from the audience, any of you are looking to start a side hustle, to experiment or test something out before you make that full jump there. And so, which leads into your talk here, in terms of my first question here is how to go from confusion to clarity of what to do next in your career.
I love that question because it is not always easy to gain clarity, but it's really about becoming self-aware, really reflecting on who you are, how you feel when you do the work that you do. Because for me, I would reflect on a day's work and look at some of the activities I was doing and really go within to figure out how is this work making me feel? And I would really try to listen to my inner self in terms of where I felt the most alive. So as I mentioned, when I was working with individuals, helping them to discover their potential, I felt fulfilled. And so that was kind of my hint that this is the type of work I'm supposed to be doing. But to clarify that, I've done Clifton Strengths Finder. So I'm very clear on what my strengths are and what my talents are. And I work with my clients to do that as well. And also I've read some great books. One in particular is called Life's Great Question by Tom Rath, and it's about discovering how you contribute to the world. So it's really about going inward and trusting what you know about yourself to be true. Because I think that's the other thing that can get people hung up is on what they think they should be doing. So in my case, the job that I left right in the middle of the pandemic, I was making a 6-figure salary. I had a beautiful 6-minute commute and also felt feelings of guilt when I thought about doing something different. I thought, there are people who are not working. At that time, there are many people who had lost their jobs.
Yeah.
There are people who would, they would want to earn a 6-figure salary so bad. And so I thought to myself sometimes, how dare you think that you should be doing something else? Or am I being ungrateful because I want to do something different? And so I had to really reconcile those feelings within myself and understand that it wasn't guilty that I was actually heeding a call. Like there was work I was meant to do and it kept eating at me. And so trusting that inner feeling and letting go of the guilt, and it's okay to want to do something different.
Yeah, that's okay. You're right. I remember, honestly, the past year, I've talked to a lot of people too who are working but feel miserable or not happy, with COVID and everything. And, like the same feeling guilty or feeling bad to leave. But then if you're not feeling fulfilled or in line, you have to do something about it. So the question here is also how to know if starting your own business is the right move for you, for those who are contemplating. And specifically, I want to just highlight as well, we've been reading the news, a lot of women have left the workforce.
Yeah.
Right. Female workforce participation has already dropped to 57%, the lowest since 1988. And so going back to starting a business could be a way to give that flexibility there. But how do we know if it's the right fit?
It could. Very, very good point. And I'll add a statistic for you because I was looking at this myself, and I came across an article that said there are 114% more women entrepreneurs than there were 20 years ago. Yeah. So women are definitely moving into entrepreneurship. And I do want to be clear that entrepreneurship is not for everyone. But I think because there's risk involved. And so I think the biggest reason why people shy away from entrepreneurship is because of the risk. Am I going to make enough money? Am I going to be able to sustain? But, working in HR and having witnessed a lot of people lose their jobs, one thing I learned is that even the idea of job security is a false sense of security. Like literally you could be 2 weeks later looking for another job. So I would encourage, again, starting it as a side hustle. Like you mentioned, it was a great way to test it. It was a great way to experiment while I still had a paycheck. So I would encourage anybody who's looking to do entrepreneurship, if you can, depending on what your interest is, start it as a side hustle talk to other entrepreneurs who are doing what you're doing, what you'd like to do, to gain some insight and advice from them, and find people who are doing the work that you want to do, and find inspiration from them. I was actually watching you, Diana, before your summit. I'd been on your website, I'd seen some of your posts, and I knew you were a career coach, and I thought, I want to be able to do what she's doing one day. And so I found inspiration from yourself and others who were doing like work. So I would encourage others who are interested in entrepreneurship, start there.
That's a good one as well, right? Researching, following people who inspires you as well to get inspiration. That's a good one. So let's talk about, the topic of your talk, right? How to really embrace the courage over comfort to change careers. What were your fears when you decided to go on into your full time? I know you hinted a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. My number one fear was, how am I going to replace this salary? Will people really do business with me? So I think that that's probably going to be the number one fear for most people. And that really comes from overcoming that with believing in yourself. Like, I don't know how you could be an entrepreneur without having some sort of spiritual foundation, some sort of belief system that anchors you and allows you to have that trust in yourself, that what I have to offer, the service that I'm contributing, is valuable, people need it, and someone will pay for it. So it's easier said than done, but it definitely starts with believing in yourself and knowing that you have value. Here's the other thing that worked for me. I figured that if a company was willing to invest $100,000 or more for my services, that I could get people who would also be willing to invest in my services. If I felt I was enough for a company to pay me to do the work, there will be others who will also pay me to do the work. I just have to get a whole bunch of different customers to make up that $100,000 that I'm going to be losing. But the principle is the same. I valued myself enough to sell myself to an employer who ultimately hired me. So I approach my business the same way.
Yeah, the belief is so important. I was watching the talk Jennifer Brick was on hosting yesterday with Jacob Rourke, who's built 2 7-figure businesses. Oh wow! And I asked him the question, what's been the key to success in getting to a 7-figure business? And he talked about number 1, belief. He talked about the vision. He talked about commitment and marketing.
Yes.
Those are the 4 things he talked about to 7 figures.
Those are great suggestions.
Right. And we talked about this whole courage piece. I think that you have to go back to from within to believe that you have what it takes first in order to take action to move forward as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. That is so key. And in taking the baby step in terms of, even though you don't know exactly what it is yet, be able to take that baby there. Yeah. Awesome. So my other question here is, what advice do you have for people looking to start their business? What steps can they take?
Yeah, so I've got 3 things. First, you have to find your why. So for me, initially, I think when I started it as a side hustle, I was thinking in terms of dollars and cents and how am I going to replace this income? But I had a shift and kind of a transition in my thought process was, this has to be a mission-focused endeavor. And I have to know my why and let that be anchored in my why. So I would say, find your why. Why do you want to do this? What's the purpose behind it? The other thing I would say is find your voice. And that was something I did struggle with in the beginning, because you do have to be careful when you're looking at people for inspiration. Sometimes you can find yourself in a little bit of a comparison, and then that's when that imposter syndrome sets in. So really looking to people for inspiration, not comparison, and just understanding that you have something to add to the conversation as well. Because you mentioned marketing, and marketing is a huge part of business, but I found that just by finding my voice, and being visible, which we've talked about today, really kind of helps to create that funnel of clients coming through. So knowing what you have to say and that it matters is really important.
Yeah, I love this. It ties back to our topic, right? Your voice, your value, putting yourself out there, that visibility, right? To attract opportunities there. I love that. I love that. Amazing.
And the last thing I'll add really quick, find your community. So those things. Find your why, find your voice, find your community, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so while sometimes you can get caught up in some of the traditional ideas of business and operating a business, and I found that those three things is what's helped me to become successful at this point in my venture.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And my last question is, what does it mean to you to own your voice, value, and visibility?
Oh, this is good. I love this. So owning your voice. I'm going to share a quote that I just learned recently by Brenda Yulin. And it says that everyone is talented, original, and has something important to say. And so owning your voice means believing that you have something of value to offer, and owning that and believing that and trusting that. And then similarly, owning your value means that, everyone can learn something from anyone. So believing that you have something to add to the conversation, whatever space that you're in. And then visibility to me means showing up. Someone shared with me when I was a little bit hesitant about going into business that if I didn't take that leap of faith, then I was going to be depriving people who needed what I had to offer. So being visible for me means showing up for the people who need to hear what I have to say and who need to experience what I have to offer.
Oh, I love it. That's so good. So good. Where can people find you, Ricklyn?
You know what? I absolutely love and live on LinkedIn. So that's probably the best place to find me. You can also visit my website at ricklynwoods.com.
Amazing, amazing. And check out your new podcast as well.
Yes.
Do a little plug on your podcast.
I keep forgetting that part, but yes, I have a newly released podcast. So you want to work in HR. And I actually got some really good feedback today from someone who's not in HR, but who found the podcast very, very valuable. So I'm sharing career stories of HR leaders and others. So it's going to be a great place to be inspired and be informed. So thank you. And I'd love it if you would tune in and let me know your feedback.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your story as well. And I'm so proud of you making that pivot last year during the pandemic. Now that you've got your website up, you got your podcast launch, you're getting clients as well. And I love your LinkedIn profile as well. I featured your LinkedIn profile on the weekend. It was like a great profile to share where you highlight your story and what you're known for.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Diana. And again, thank you for creating this space for the wonderful women of color that you have on this platform. And I'm going to continue to watch your success and what you continue to do on your journey.
Oh, thank you so much. All right, you take care.
Bye.
Bye now. Oh my goodness, that was so good and inspiring here. I love it, love it, love it. Oh my goodness. Are you guys ready for our last speaker, Sonal? That's going to be amazing. I know it. I know it. It's going to be amazing. So Sonal Bahl, she's going to be talking about voicing your uniqueness. Sonal is an experienced HR director and a career strategist living in Belgium, originally from India. She has lived and worked in India. I got to know how to pronounce those words. Is it Uruguay? Is that how you pronounce it? Uruguay, Chile, France. After nearly 2 decades in HR, screening over 250,000 resumes and conducting over 5,000 interviews in 3 continents, she's helped recruit, build, and evolve highly talented teams. She has experience working with large companies like GE and PwC, mid-sized family-owned firms, and startups. Sonal helps people by offering authentic advice on how they can have a career they actually love. She will give you that extra edge you need to land that job, get promoted, and improve your happiness at work. She's also the creator and host of How I Got Hired, a top-rated career podcast in multiple countries. Sonal has an MBA from INSEAD. She speaks 4 languages, English, Hindi, Spanish, and French fluently. So let's give her a round of applause and welcome Sonal to the stage. Hello!
Happy to be here. I'm so excited. Can you hear me properly?
I can. Oh my goodness. Happy Friday.
I'm so excited to be here. Can I just say, Diana, you are this superstar. Like, I've been watching, for me, it's been 5 p.m. So now it's almost 7 p.m. So it's 2 hours. I don't know how you're doing this. I mean, you're giving shout outs to everyone. You're telling everybody to applaud others. Let's have some applause for Diana and her little backstage gremlin Simran. You're amazing. Like Diana, like if something happened tomorrow, like you could do this professionally.
I could do this professionally.
I mean it. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I saw you in this, you did this huge career thing back in December.
Yeah.
And I sent you a connection request. It never happened. You were flooded because you were also on Andrew Siemens' LinkedIn Live. And I never heard back. So this is a very interesting lesson for us because we don't hear back. We're like, oh, she's too important. Like she's too
No, it's not.
And I was like, followed up. I'm so glad I followed up because if I hadn't followed up, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Thank you for bringing that up because I've actually also been secretly like following your work as well, like looking, checking out your LinkedIn lives and all that. And then I wanted to reach out, and then somehow you messaged me, and then we found out that you actually messaged me, and I didn't know. Like I had no idea. That
inbox is a jungle. I totally get it.
Yeah, but this is going to talk about the important lesson of following up, and don't take it personally. Like honestly, like I'm sure you have it too. Like right now, I have like 1,000 invites I have not accepted yet because I'm trying to go through each one, and the ones that send me a DM first, I will respond first because it's in my inbox.
Yes, important lesson.
Yeah,
always
so
personalize that connection request. Always personalize it.
Yeah, it makes a difference. It makes a difference. So why don't we start off with, tell us about your cultural upbringing. What's one cultural value that had an impact on you?
Yeah, beautiful question. I grew up in India, like you said, and I'm just debating if I should be honest or honest. Okay, I'm just going to say it. I come from this culture where boys have usually been preferred over girls. So what that means is I always saw priority given to boys. However, my grandma, who I spent a lot of time with, and I actually grew up with my grandparents because of certain reasons. I spent my first 5 years with my grandparents. Shout out to all those who love their grandparents and are in touch with them. My grandma said to me, never, ever stop working. And she was a teacher. She loved her job. And I found that very strange, this piece of advice, Diana, because I didn't see huge career aspirations. I'm not saying that it's not a good thing, but I didn't see huge career aspirations on my mom and then later with my mom-in-law. So I was like, where is this coming from? But it stuck with me. So, it didn't make a difference to her what gender I was, but she had a feeling, being a woman, you might take a backseat once you go through different stages of life. She said, just be careful, never do it, because once you do it, it might be hard to swim back in. So it just stuck with me.
Yeah. So how did that, I guess, impact you? Like someone like Simran just said, like she can relate to this as well. Like what was for you the trigger to be like, I'm going to do what I want or build my career as well? Or
yeah, it's interesting because I had someone on my podcast and she was saying, when you interview people, you can see if they care or not, right? She said something very interesting. You can't teach people to care. So I think you can't teach people to be hungry. They're either hungry or they're not. I was starving. So I was like, I want to do stuff. The drive came from within. And I saw other friends, other family members, they didn't have this drive, which is absolutely fine. And my drive was sometimes questioned, saying, why do you feel like this? Do you feel like you have to earn money? Do you think we're not earning enough to support you? No, not at all. They're so unrelated, these two things. I just want to be independent. So I'm not sure I'm answering your question. So it was just, if you're driven, you're driven. If you're hungry, it's very different when you see a chocolate cake in front of you and you haven't eaten for 4 days versus you see a chocolate cake in front of you and you literally had a lasagna an hour ago. So you can't fake that hunger. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's the drive inner that it's hard. People can't teach. It's almost like a moment you just have to claim it. You have to claim that in order to move forward. I love that. That's great. Yeah. What challenges did you face in your career or business and how did you handle them?
Yeah. Where would we be without those challenges, Diana? Because I loved every single speaker because the challenges made them stronger.
Yeah.
What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Specifically, I can think of, there were many. Specifically, I can think of two. One was every time we moved countries, because Uruguay, Chile, France, Belgium, you would think it was intimidating. I was like, oh, I'm interested to try. So the career, I invite a lot of people to think about it. When you see patterns, you'll be able to connect the dots. My patterns were great, fantastic. And then confidence went down because of a trigger. And that trigger, you can only know backwards. Like back then, you didn't know it was a trigger. So for me, it was getting into business school, which is amazing because this was the top. Now it's the top business school in the world by Financial Times. So that's a very big deal. The second I got there, I was like, I don't belong here. Man, they made a mistake. They're going to find out I don't know anything. And honestly, I really struggled. I struggled with some courses. I was a new mom. I was breastfeeding my kid. And I was like, I wish I hadn't been admitted. I am so scared. Like even talking about it, I have sweaty palms.
Yeah.
And, Diana, people say trauma, and I think that it's used, sometimes it's abused as a word, because I felt like, oh no, trauma is meant for people who've been through war and they've been through horrific things that's happened to them. I don't deserve to use the word trauma, but if you study it, PTSD and all of this stuff, it doesn't mean that you have a gigantic, colossal, catastrophe happen to you. I've been through a lot of trauma during that 1 year because everyone I felt was more intelligent. Classic McKinsey, consulting, finance was a breeze for them. And I was like, I don't belong here. I don't belong here. So I struggled with a couple of courses, so much so that I felt people were judging me the whole time.
Wow.
I didn't go back to the reunions. And the reason, I've never admitted it in public, I'm saving this for you, Diana, but the reason I'm saying this is there's people in the audience who are going to know, oh man, because there's research on it. I'm going to write an article on it. I think 50% or 40% of people actually go back to reunions. Why?
Go back to what?
Reunions, like high school reunion, college reunion, all of that stuff. And I told myself, I'm really busy. Like I've got stuff going, oh yeah, right. Like I had like legitimate excuses. It turned out I was actually really, really afraid to face those people because the constant judging. So I just think it was a waste to do that. I'll never get that time back. And it took working with a coach, amazing coach, in 2019. So 10 years after graduating, I actually realized, oh man, that was traumatic. Oh, like it was a great experience, but you never got over it. People were judging you. So that was the first. And the second, and I don't know if you relate with the second, Diana, because you've been in business for 10 years, but back in 2019, when I was starting to work in the career space, because I enjoyed it a lot, and I felt I was good at it, I started a YouTube channel. I was told repeatedly by very successful people that I admired, I was told that this is a very crowded space, particularly in North America. And we all know most people who are worth their salt, most, not all, most of the top voices, thought leaders when it comes to careers are all sitting in North America. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean? No, you should focus on like Middle East, Asia, markets, or maybe Latin America, it's not represented. So that's what I was told. And I was like, yeah, why not both? No, it's completely saturated. So that job scan thing that happened, it was a huge thing for me because I was just refusing to believe that. But stepping into it, I want to talk about this. We don't talk about it publicly. A lot of people don't talk about it. During that time when I was doubting, and I saw everybody so successful, you and the usual names, Kamara is one of them. I was so insanely jealous. I was so insane. I'm like, I'll never make it. They're so good. They're so successful. I don't belong here. And now, 2 years later, like 1 year later, they have either come on my podcast or they have come on my LinkedIn Live.
Yeah.
And they're the people who gave my name for the job scan recognition. And I was like, it took me about a year to realize the abundance mindset and the fact that there's enough sky for all of us. So it's all about, for me, it's all about like, hey, promote each other, men, women, whatever, because it's going to be okay. So for me, going through that horrible bitterness and the negativity, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I can either complain, which I was very good at, by the way. And I realized comparison is the thief of joy. So it's one of the things I want to focus on.
I love this.
With my clients as well. I see this with my clients and I see everything, like what I just shared, I recognize that with my clients.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I could totally relate to this, like the story that you're sharing, being so vulnerable about this. And I think what for me, I mean, just as I'm hearing your story, for me is I looked at more like the impact I was making on my clients more than the external. Like that's how I guess measure my own impact, I guess, in terms of or success is versus trying to compare like, oh, I don't have this many followers and all that. And that helps me stay grounded and focus on who I serve, why I do what I do. And even when I did the Career Relaunch Summit last year, there were some moments leading up to it of imposter syndrome as well. But then I had to get back to knowing what my value is, my superpowers are. And then after that, what's interesting was learning that each person has their own gifts and talents and their own niche.
Yes.
Even though we're in the same space,
Yes.
even though we do something similar, but who we serve or how we teach things is different, and we resonate with a different audience as well. And so there is more than enough for everyone. That's my belief, and this is why I love bringing people together. Like this is why I do things like this. Like I'm not worried like this will lose me clients. I'm like, okay, let's lift each other up and let's celebrate each other as well.
And you're so good at it.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. I just love that vulnerability there. So why do you do what you do? What are you proud of? And you talked about this.
Everyone had like really eloquent answers to this one, Diana. My answer is really simple. Like I have been laid off 3 times. It is rough, man. It is rough. And the third time, it wasn't laid off, but I quit by choice. And it was one of those things that I heard. I think Ricklyn talked about it. It was like, oh, how dare I do that? Like it's a horrible economy, but I wasn't happy. So I said, okay, I'm going to quit. I don't have a job in hand. And a lot of people expressed interest. You're so interesting, you speak all these languages, so exotic, you've lived in so many countries. Okay, where are the jobs? Where are the jobs? Like, show me the money. Nothing, nada, zilch. So I was like, I gotta do something. Like, I gotta stay busy and I gotta start earning money. Hello, we live in like a very expensive country. And I didn't know what that was going to be. So I said, okay, I love helping people. And I see that as a common theme with all 6 of us. Beautiful. Yeah. And you can't teach people to care. And I remember I said that. So there's a deep care, this feeling of, hey, I know what it's like. I've been through it. Yeah. Why don't I put this down and share it? I don't know what it's going to look like, but this was in 2018. I use a lot of YouTube to get help. Anything I want to learn how to tie a sari for the first time, like everything is YouTube. New baby, this issue, that issue. And I'm like, what if I use YouTube and give YouTube, give back and start creating videos? That's all I did. I started creating videos on how to, interviews and resume and all of the stuff that I learned over time. I thought maybe this might be interesting for someone who wants to know HR secrets, but, they don't know who to ask. And I was like, hey, I'm going to start. So that's what I did. And then nothing happened with YouTube. YouTube was dead. It's only picked up now. It's 2 years later. Nothing happened. But then I started taking some of those YouTubes as native content, if you know what I mean. Put it on LinkedIn as if it's a LinkedIn video. Yeah. That's when things started happening. So I kind of stumbled into it. And what are you most proud of is my clients. I mean, I live for them. When I say clients, I mean not just the ones who pay me, but clients, viewers. Every time there's, this, Diana, every time somebody says, hey, this was amazing and it's thanks to you. Yeah. Oh man, that is such a high. Like that's the best high in the world. It is. Yeah, that's what I agree with you.
Yeah, I got a message this morning from someone who's been watching my live and just want to say thank you. And she's like, if you ever need a volunteer, let me know. I'll be willing to help. I'm like, that just meant the world to know that I made a difference in someone's life.
Yes.
Through these lives. And I know you've been, how many weeks you've been doing now with your live show every Friday?
Today was 60 nonstop every Friday. It is a commitment, man. You like it just, I don't care how many people show up. It's a commitment.
I'm only my 3rd month and I'm thinking of taking a break next month.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
It is fun. It is fun. It's a lot of prep, and I'm like, okay, I probably need a little break. Yes. I'm like, how do you do it, right? Okay, let's move into your topic here. Is how to, let me just think, where is it? How to identify what makes you unique. And what do high managers care about and how to stand out?
Yeah, I thought about this and I started working on this a little bit. Then I realized some of my live streams are actually useful for me because when you do your own live stream, Diana, you learn a few things. And I'm like, okay, I did this a couple of weeks ago. And we talked about top 5 interview questions and answers. So we talked about unique selling proposition, so USP, particularly when you're going through the hiring stage and you've got something. So I don't know if you are going to be able to share your screen, because I know you've got like multiple things going on. Awesome. But somehow something happened, Diana. I'm not able to hear you. I'm sure it can be fixed though. Unless it's just me.
Oh, no, there you go. I was
Right,
just
there you
sharing
are.
your screen. Let me see if I can share it. I'm just gonna, oh, maybe. Let me see if I can do this. Let's see.
Because I tried right now and it says I can't. Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful.
Is it big enough?
So, you can say interviewer, you can also say client. It doesn't matter where you are in the world in terms of what you do. There is this thing, I'm a geek for Venn diagrams. There is this thing that people are looking for, whether it's your interviewer or your client, right? There is this thing that you do well. Now, in the perfect world, this would be it. You don't have any problems at all. But however, no problem means no, you don't level up. You stay where you are.
Yeah.
The challenge is, what are competing candidates or competing business owners, whatever you are, what are they doing well? Now, what you want to avoid is the zone of failure. That's the red. Why? Because that's what those people do really well and you don't. And at the same time, people are looking for that. Where you want to be, and the zone of equality is what you do well and what they do well. So in that geeky Venn diagram, who cares, right? That doesn't matter. What really, really matters is, what do you do really well? And what is it that they want? And what is it that competitors don't do?
Yeah.
I want to just keep this on for 5 seconds in silence. Yeah. I want people to think about this. Absorb. Yeah. Because when I made this, it took me time to absorb.
Yeah.
So if you want, you can stop sharing.
No, I like this. You know what I'm hearing is that if I just want to make a point here, what I'm understanding, what you're trying to highlight here is, what is your competitive edge? What differentiates you? Like, that's the point we're trying to have. What you do well, what the interviewer wants, but no one else does. That is what we call your edge.
Yes.
That's the differentiation factor that no one has to offer. That's the point you're trying to make here. So I love that. I want to hit that home, because I do talk a lot about this myself, as like, what's your differentiation factor? What's your edge? It's not just like, I have these strengths, I have these skills. It's a combination of everything, of what you do well and what the interviewer wants, that makes you unique there.
Exactly. And the beauty, it doesn't really matter. You call it competitive edge, you call it USP, you call it whatever you want, but you've got it. And people who say to me, I don't have that, BS, okay? I'm calling complete BS. The day we all are robots, you can say we don't have that because we are alike, but we have it. And at some point, you got to trace it back, whether it's childhood, early teens, young adult. Now, for me, it happened during the MBA. At some point, it's been squashed. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's true for everyone, but it's usually, I tend to see that. And it's been squashed either by outer voices or that inner voice. And that comes from comparison, scarcity, all of that stuff. So I'll give you an example. So let's say you're very interested in like this senior financial analyst role. You're like reading the job description and your heart is like, oh, I'm perfect for this. Whoa, where do I sign? You want to apply and you're getting this feeling that this could have, and then, LinkedIn also shows you X number of people applied and you're immediately getting like a minor, like a palpitations. What do? You're going to obviously go to the interview. You're going to be prepared. There's something you have that others don't. So let's say you have exactly what they need when it comes to financial analysis, but so does everyone else. However, maybe you were an engineer, so you're very good at analytical, and you combine that with financial knowledge, hardcore hard skills, the technical things that others don't. Or you're very good at financial analysis, just like everyone else, and you're a very good writer. What does that mean? You can actually synthesize complicated information and make it easy to digest with the power of words that you use. So think about it, because you have it. Work, I don't mean to sound self-serving, work with a coach if you can afford it, because the job of the coach is to extract potential that you don't see. You've got too many blind spots. I've had 2 coaches last year, massive difference. If you can't afford it, not a problem. Ricklyn followed Oprah. do what you got to do. It's gonna come. It's gonna come with, but you don't give up on that. Because once you identify your USP and you step into it, not like, I also happen to speak Spanish, so I see that you have no.
Yeah.
Your body language, all of that stuff, you believe it, it's gonna shine through, and you're like, actually, I think I'm perfect for this. Can I tell you why? Reason 1, reason 2.
Yes.
And you want them to listen and, whoa.
Business cases, right? That's facts. You're giving the facts, essentially.
And when you do that, it's exactly what I think it was Rhona.
Yep.
It gets easier. Because salary negotiation gets easier.
Yes, you're absolutely
when you
right.
love something, you know it. We've all been on Amazon and all of that stuff. We're like, oh, it costs 10 times more. But we always buy with emotion and we justify with logic. So there's emotion that is amazing. They will pay top dollar or euro in my case.
Right. Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. I know. Are you okay with time? If we go a little bit longer? Yeah, you're perfect.
I'm really thankful to the people. They're staying so long. I'm the last one. So
I do want to ask these questions. You have really good. I'm like, I want to make sure we get through some of them. How to voice your uniqueness with confidence. And I'm coming from a standpoint where, a lot of times I hear clients say that they have this limiting belief or feeling that they can come across arrogant when they talk about themselves, right? So how to really switch that mindset and overcome that.
Yeah. I heard Jasmine talk about this in some way, the thing that I'm about to share. I don't have a geeky diagram for this, but I'm trying to imagine, you have those 2 arrows which are in a circle. First arrow is confidence. Second arrow, competence. So they kind of feed each other. Yeah. And Jasmine spoke about it beautifully, so I feel bad like repeating, but focus on becoming extremely good at what you do. That's my thing. If you are in the career space, geek in, just go all in. If you're in financial analysis, you should know everything about financial analysis. You should understand GAAP, everything that goes with it. And then, opportunities are going to come. Hey, we need someone to do that. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Even if you don't know jack shizzle, raise your hand. You'll figure it out. But if you don't raise your hand, opportunities don't come. And Rhona said, ask for more. If you don't ask, you don't get. Take opportunities when they come. Even if they are not inviting you, you're inviting yourself. And I know you're going to talk about seat at the table. Take it. You'll figure it out. My favorite author, Marie Forleo, everything is figure outable. You'll find a way. Clouds will part open. But when you are really, really good at what you do, guess what's going to happen? You can't be ignored anymore. You can't be ignored anymore. And what is that going to give you? Confidence. So competence feeds confidence, and the confidence will actually help me to be better at my job. So I love the self-fulfilling prophecy of confidence and competence. And there's somebody who's, I don't remember who, but they've done a study on it, on how these 2 feed each other. So for me, that's the thing. How do you voice it? It's easier when you know you're good without, and arrogance is when you think you're the only one who's good. For me, like, I'm the best career coach in the world. No. So the humility, you'll have it. It's not an issue, but I don't want you to worry too much about arrogance. It's other people's problem. Like, she thinks that's their problem. They've got trigger issues. Everything triggers them. You step into it. They are not the people who are going to pay my bills. They're not the people who will help my parents with retirement. As long as your why, Simon said, I know it sounds a bit cheesy. As long as you're thinking, for me, the why is crystal clear. Help my family. Like, for me, the why is not get a villa in the south of France, although that would be beautiful. When your why is very simple, very clear, it can make you cry. Your why can make you cry. Nothing else matters because you've got your eyes on the prize.
Yeah. I just want to answer some audience questions here. I think, who was the author again? Marie Forleo, is that who you mentioned?
Marie Forleo, Marieforleo. She's a badass from New Jersey. And she's got this book called Everything is Figure Outable.
I love it. I listened to it last year. I really love it. I love her videos as well. I think Anne had a question, and it's more about practicing the voicing your uniqueness. So I think if we can maybe break it down a little bit more tactical, I guess, and becoming an expert, like what are some specific things you can do to work towards that?
Yeah. There's a few things you can do. You can continue to ensure that you learn, because when your brain is, it's like the axe, which works when you sharpen it. Just one sec. I see a child here. Not yet, poor guy. Because I had told him 7:20, which is
Almost done. Okay, we'll wrap up.
Yeah, no. Honestly, this is important, Diana. The learning bit, right? There's going to be learning, which is courses. How do I call it? Formal learning, and there's going to be informal learning. So there's 70-20-10 principle. 70% of everything we learn is actually through on the job, like actually doing your daily job, showing up to work, whether you're at home or in the office, whatever it is, and you get better at it. You're given feedback, you get better. The good thing about feedback is it's immediate. 20% of everything we learn is through mentors, coaches, boss, one-on-one. And it's only 10% that's through courses. So I want to say courses is great, but do the other 3 as well, and that 70-20-10 continuum.
Oh, that's a good one. I love how you break it down into structure, into the Venn diagram.
I love structure. I don't have a lot in my personal life, but I do like structure at work. It just helps me stay sane.
I could tell the way you're talking here. Let's talk about how to make your voice heard, especially now from the standpoint of right now, like we see like the news, like so many women leaving the workplace. It says, like I was just doing some stats here, like 40% of mothers have added 3 or more additional hours of caregiving a day to their schedule. So that's like about 15 hours a week. How can women really ask for that flexibility and support from their employer?
Yeah. So Diana, we've known each other for a few weeks, not that long. So I don't know if you're going to have me back, but there's going to be 100% honesty here, which may or may not, some people may not like. But I'm going to say it because I'm going to regret it if I don't say it. I don't think these are women problems. I think there are 2 problems here. The first problem is this is a business problem. It's an economy problem. If women are taking that, and we have stats in the US, it's going to be hugely worse in developing countries. Can you imagine if this is the case in a developed market? What's going to happen in emerging? Like, I don't know if people even have the guts to do that research. Yeah. This is a problem for the economy. It's a problem for businesses. It's a problem for society when both members are not gainfully employed. It's a problem so macro, it's a huge issue. It's not a woman's issue only. And the second thing I want to say is this is a marriage problem. And put your hand up in the audience if you know what I'm saying. When you do more than your husband or your partner, you have resentful feelings. Like, what the heck? Like, you sit on your backside and do Netflix and I do this a few hours more. You've got to have before asking the employer, because I feel like it perpetuates, lean in and all of that. You've got to have those conversations, as uncomfortable as they are. I'd rather have the uncomfortable conversation, which stings me a little bit or a lot, than a lifetime of resentment. Because what's worse than resentment, regret? It's so bitter. So you got to have those conversations with your partner, because at the end of the day, the reality is women are doing more, and that is not fair. I don't know, Rhona, if you see this, but my divorce lawyer friends are extremely happy. This is the best year for them, 2020. But in places like in Europe and in North America, divorce was always already anything between 1/3 and half, right? Wow, yeah. And now it's actually worse. So there is a reason for that. And I think that we got to have those conversations. You're right. And have them. And then the men, if they're in the audience, if they're still around, men start asking for flexibility as well. Please. It's not her kids. They're your kids. You're a team, right? And my only exception here is single moms. Okay, that hats off. I heard somebody else in your guests who say that. I don't know how you do it. You're amazing, and I'm sure you have help, because without help it won't work. Similarly, you gotta get help, but if you ask your husband or your partner, it's not help. It's 50-50 responsibility. 50-50. Yeah. It's not a hotel, right? It's not a hotel. Like, can you help me with the housework? No, dude. This is your house. Like, step up and do what you gotta do. Otherwise, what's the point? At some point, she's gonna say, you know what, I earn really well. I don't need you. Like, get out of my house. Yeah. And that's what happens. So And it's not fair. A couple of dads who are very active on LinkedIn and very vocal about this. I don't remember their names right now. We need more like that. We want them to step up without thinking they're going to be called a sissy because they're equal partners with their wife.
Yeah.
It's a partnership.
Partnership. Oh, I love this. You see what Ellen said? Yes, please come back. I love your point of view. I love that. But it's true though. We really should start with our partner first instead of going first to the employer. Like, what can we do in the household together first, right? So that we have the strong foundation.
My husband has never been more useful. Like, really, like kitchen, he stepped up. I mean, I'm so happy because it's not equal. It's not equal at home. I'm the one who's on the back. What do you call it? Like, spotlight and backstage. That's not right. That's not a partnership. That's like, behind every successful man. So I don't want to be behind the man, dude. I want to be side by side.
Yeah, I love it. Oh, it's true. I love it. So my last question here is, well, my favorite question I've been asking everyone. What does it mean to you to own your voice, value, and visibility?
Everything. It's everything. It's the difference. I'm going to keep it short because I know we're over time. It's the difference between surviving and thriving. You got to decide, are you surviving today? Are you thriving? And if you're not thriving, it might be related to Diana's brilliant triple V's. Voice. I've already forgotten it. What was it? Voice, value, and
visibility.
Visibility, yes. Marketability. I was thinking marketability. That's your company name. Voice, value, and so you got to decide: are you visible? Are you valuable? Are you using your voice? Because we spoke with other women about it. Which one are you? Where are you? Are you surviving? Are you thriving? For me, that's everything.
Yeah. Oh, I just love how you wrapped it up there. That's amazing. That is so good. I love it. It's such a great way to wrap it up. Think about it. Like, are you using all these three aspects as well to help you to thrive? And going back to the theme here, to really empowering people to own your greatness as well, to shine and to rise, shine, and thrive.
Yeah, what works for me, Diana, is mortality motivation. Mortality motivation. We don't have a lot of time. We're not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And Gary Vee says that you've already won the lottery. Because I don't know what, 600 million of them, trillion of them, and you made it. And you were born. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, that's so true. So true. Guys, you're still here with us. I want to, if you can quickly type in, what is your biggest takeaway from today's event? Like, we had so many value bombs dropped here from our speakers. If you can just put in some of your key nuggets, give some kudos to our speakers. That'd be amazing as well. Sonal, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm going to answer that, but I just want to say quickly one thing, because Diana, I forgot about it. People who are still a little bit like hesitant or own your voice and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I just want to say this isn't about you. It's about who you can help and what you can do. So, I doubt it when Vincent van Gogh, the famous artist, I doubt it when he started, he thought, yeah, but Claude Monet's already done it. Like, what's the point? So comparison is a thief of joy. Please be careful. You have a duty, and Marie Forleo says that you have a duty to do what you got to do. If you don't, if Vincent van Gogh hadn't done it, I wouldn't, think about your favorite actor. If they hadn't stepped in and thought, no, but Brad Pitt's already there. What's the, you're robbing people of joy. So you got to do it. And I also want to say, last, I promise. Okay. One of my favorite quotes is by Bruce Lee. You've heard so much stuff today. I'm telling the audience. Absorb what's useful. Reject what's useless. No problem. Add what is essentially yours. Do it. And when you do it, please, please, please stop using the word inspiration. I don't like that word because it doesn't last. It comes and it's gone. It's like taking a shower. You need to do it every day. Instead of being inspired, make a plan.
Yeah.
And where can people find me? Yes, I'm extremely active on LinkedIn. I'm a LinkedIn addict, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. So LinkedIn, Sonal Bahl, follow me there, and I love the way you pronounce my name. I have a YouTube channel, which is Supercharge, and I have a podcast, How I Got Hired, and my website, which I don't spend a lot of time on. I should actually. It's called Supercharge Yourself.
Amazing. And congrats on launching Supercharge Yourself recently as well with all the new courses that you created. That's amazing as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Dana. This was wonderful.
Oh, this was so good. I love how you wrapped it up. It was such a great call to action for people as well, right? Like, yes, you get, it could be like there's the inspiration, motivation, but at the end of the day, you got to take what's useful for you and do something about it. Right, that's the big key here, and I'm big on taking massive action. Like that's how I get a lot of things done. Is like once I decide, I'm just gonna do. So thank you so much for being here, and I really appreciate you and all the speakers today. It was so good.
Every speaker, fireworks.
Yeah.
Loved it. Thank you, Diana, for the opportunity, and
All
thanks to everyone for being here.
Amazing. Okay, you take care. Bye, Sonal.
Take care.
Oh, that was so good, guys. Oh, my heart is just, my cup is filled right now. I just feel so good. And I want to thank you all for being here today. I learned so much. I'm going to be watching the replay later on, and we'll add the timestamps for you guys. But I just feel so lit up right now to have all my 6 speakers today to share their story, share their like wisdom and insights. I really hope you enjoyed it as well. Next week, I have another show. First time ever, I'm going to have a couple here, husband and wife team, coming here to talk to me on thriving as a dual career couple. So that's going to be a juicy one. We're going to talk about how both of them are very career oriented as well, how they support each other in their career, and how they support each other at home there. And then the week after, March 26th, it's going to be my 10-year wedding anniversary. I'm going to have a show on women in leadership, where I'll be interviewing 3 corporate leaders in the CC level. And we're going to talk about their career advancement journey, leadership, hiring philosophy, mentoring, coaching people. So that's going to be the next 2 weeks there. I invite you guys to come join me. You could find the show on my website at mymarkability.com/events. I will get them all up this weekend. I create them as you go there. So after that, I'm actually going to be taking a break. I'm going to be taking a month break from this weekly segment, but I will still do some lives on the fly there to answer audience questions. I'm just going to take a little break here because we're going to be doing some home renovations. So we're going to be in the middle of where we need to move out temporarily and work on some other projects there. So anyhow, I hope you guys enjoy this. It was so much fun for having you being part of this journey. And I love meeting you guys. Feel free to message me as well. Ping me. If I don't get to your invite, just send me a DM. That's easier to get a hold of me. Or another hack is DM me through Instagram because I don't get as many messages there. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great, wonderful weekend, guys. Cheers.